Hello, ladies and gentlemen watching from home, all college Mario Kart fans. I am Ted Bear, joined by Labob. I am
W-
so very happy to have all of you guys joining us here for what very well may be the greatest collegiate Mario Kart match of all time. Labob, how are you doing tonight?
I am beyond excited for this match. We already had one amazing finals match yesterday, and I have finally been freed from the basement of stream hosting, so now I can commentate this historic CKL matchup.
And what a match to commentate. We've seen teams, especially in lower divisions, dominate and destroy. Some of them go 10-0, some of them go 9-1, 8-2, and just completely dominate the competition and win finals. I don't think we've ever seen two different teams in the premier division for CKL storm into finals like what we've seen here. For Waterloo Water, the descendants of Season 1 champions Ontario United, with Iona, Ingite, Pickley, Boss Yoshi, Spoons, Mordai, Enor. It is such a phenomenally strong team that fills every role together. They steamrolled their way into a 9-1 record, swept the defending champions UCSD in the semifinals to reach their first CKL finals appearance and their first ever season together. But on the other side of the bracket, oh my goodness, if there's ever been a redemption story in collegiate sports, it might be Michigan. They lost Season 2 Division 1 to UCSD back in spring, and they didn't mope, they didn't cry. They got stronger together as a unit. They recruited Sean to the team, and they also dominated their way to a 9-1 record. And they, no offense to any Kutztown fans or players watching the stream, but they suffocated Kutztown University in the semifinals to reach their second straight finals appearance.
Yeah, it was a great season by both teams. Notable that Michigan's only loss on the year was an 8-point loss in interconference play against Waterloo. This is going to be a very, very back and forth match if I had to guess. I remember in an interview after the semifinal match where I believe we had Whooper on stream asking about the finals match against potentially Waterloo. He mentioned that his team would have to adapt their strategy because this lineup of six from Michigan is compared to almost any other team in the league is insane. Their front presence is nearly unmatched. Keyword being nearly because the trio of Pickley, Iona, and Ingite with Boss Yoshi as mid-pack support is very tough to break if you're
I,
on the Michigan side. So I know Whooper mentioned that they had to adapt the strategy to play for those spots behind one instead of just trying to outrun Waterloo.
it's gonna it's gonna be a battle. I think on paper the Michigan lineup overall is stronger. I mean, Short, Freddie, Texican, Whooper, and Sean are the best players on any other individual team, minus maybe some D1 and D2 teams. But they're together on the Michigan lineup. And of course, C2D2, a phenomenal homegrown CKL player as well. You know, just an amazing support piece. But we've seen in every single Waterloo matchup as well that, yeah, sure, you'll have Iona and Pickley and Ingite in the front, but Boss Yoshi could be everywhere at once. Spoons, Mordai, and or Step, they could also be everywhere at once, but they're always gonna, if the team needs shock, they're always gonna pull the shock. If the team needs a blue shell, they're always gonna pull the blue shell. Everything that Waterloo has ever needed to win a particular race or game overall, they just do it. And they do it in just with such ease. It's incredible. I really believe that this is going to go to a game 3, and it's very possible that the largest margin of victory for either game would be like 20 to 30 points.
Yeah, it's nearly impossible to pick a favorite in this matchup. Although, as your fellow caster, I am obliged to ask you to pick a favorite.
If I had to choose a team after playing against both teams, I think if you simulate this matchup 100 times, I think maybe Michigan wins it 51 out of 100, and Waterloo wins the other 49.
Yeah, it's very, very tough to call a winner. As I mentioned, the key for Michigan to win this match is going to be those try to contest those 2-3 spots. You don't have to get one every race because getting one against again the top 3 of Waterloo is not an easy task. Even with high div players, it's not easy. But
It's not.
in the end,
Uh,
it's going to come down to can Michigan maintain those mid spots while Waterloo has some bottom spots to be able to pull shocks and blues to hold their front presence. I don't know. Like
yeah,
I said, it's so tough to pick a winner. Purely,
it's
I
it's
can't
insane, and
even
here we go.
I
We're
can't even in
jumping
good
right
faith
into
be a
it.
contrarian because I want to say, oh yeah, Waterloo takes this. You're wrong, but I can't because I don't know if either team confidently takes this.
I don't know either, and that's gonna be the beauty of it. These are the two greatest collegiate teams for Mario Kart, not just of this season, but perhaps of all time. And here we go. We are starting race 1 of the set at Dolphin Shoals.
Very strong.
Here we go.
Yeah, very strong pick for Michigan. I believe we saw this chosen in the semis match. Michigan looking to take advantage of those mid to bottom spots that they have at the start, get a draft, maybe pull a shroom into a top spot early.
We're going to be starting out here with Iona from Waterloo's perspective. Waterloo going their signature red color. I believe Michigan going their signature dark blue. Starting out early here, we see the top 3 of Waterloo jump out to an early lead. Pickley, Ingite, and Iona up here in the top spots. We see Whooper from Michigan running with them as well. As the pack starts to develop, we see that a lot of Michigan's at the front, and some of the Waterloo players are lagging behind there in the back.
Gotta be careful of this trail. Lag trails are notoriously terrible in this
Yeah,
game.
it takes down Whooper right there.
Yeah.
But there's Sean.
There are ways to play around lag trails, but sometimes I do feel very unfair. Even though dropping back to the back of the pack, Iona is going to be looking to do a bit of the, I guess, a spy work, essentially, trying to make sure that nobody in the back for Michigan pulls anything they should be worried about.
We see a blue shell thrown as soon as Michigan gets a firm establishment in the top there. Someone on Michigan's going to eat it. It looks like we have a 1-2-4 for Michigan. We see a player get hit out. Perhaps first place got redded out by their teammate, and now Michigan has a solid top 3. It looks like, I believe the Tanuki Mario's on their side. Iona here activating. Yep, that is a very strong start as we enter lap 3.
Ain't no one ever seen motion plant glider like that before. Holy.
That was crazy. That is the Division 1 difference right there.
Absolutely.
Boss there in 4th place for Waterloo. Iona up here in 3rd. Sean in 2nd, and I believe that is Freddy in 1st, but Short is going to bull it up with triple reds in 3rd place. A red shell thrown at Iona.
Yeah, that's not the item you want to see if you're... Oh, whoa!
Oh my goodness! What a ring by Iona! But he's going to get redded out by Sean, it looks like.
That was still a very good ring from Iona because no... Oh, the shock?
Who dodged? So we see 2 dodges on the field right now.
It looks like that might have been an Iona shock.
Yeah, a Waterloo shock. A Waterloo shock.
Waterloo, sorry. I read the name on screen.
There we
that's
go.
A good salvage.
4, 5, 7, 9 for UM. Yep.
Iona with that rank doing a very good job. Even though Iona got trailed out at the end, it didn't matter as much because he used the ring to take out all of Short's reds, which allowed his team to push forward.
We see here, cutting to Short's perspective, I believe. Right now it is a dark screen as we transition into the track selection. Great start for Michigan there. Waterloo is the host since they have the tiebreaker advantage over Michigan from the regular season. So to go to Dolphin Shoals to start instead of Wario Stadium and to be able to get high spots like that, that is a really good start. You know, you're looking. I'm sure, especially in a matchup like this, you're trying to establish dominance early. You know, you don't want to wait around, perhaps for like a later race.
you could argue there's a bit of strategy to this as well. If you're Michigan here, do you pick all of your heavy hitting tracks, all your best tracks, match one to try and put the pressure on not Iona, sorry, Waterloo to come back 2 games in a row while their picks might also be dwindling? Or do you save some of those picks for those games 2 and 3 so that way if you can pull out a win match one, you can hit them where it hurts match two and pick all your
Well,
trump card tracks.
right now, this I would say is probably one of the biggest trump card tracks that Waterloo has, and we see it busted out race 2 immediately. And we're gonna see short here, burn out, smart strategy. This is a pretty heavy bagger. I have personally, and this is just anecdotal, I cannot prove this scientifically, but every single time I watch a Waterloo match, and I believe it has been 6, they have gone to this track and they've pulled at least 2 shocks.
Canadian luck, what can I say?
Incredible. Starting out here, we will see short in 5th place. We see a mix of Waterloo and Michigan all over. It appears right now that at least Michigan has top 2 for the time being, top 2 4. Short slowing down here to red out Spoons, and another Waterloo player, I believe that was Iona, hits Spoons again, has another red shell, gets a golden shroom in pocket.
A lot of the back spots are already at shock distance on lap 1, which, because it's Rock Mountain, because you can take that ginormous shortcut at the end of the lap, it's okay to be at this distance.
We see Short holding on to his star right here. We don't see... Oh, there's the shock!
I was going to say, I think I saw Boss Yoshi holding the shock.
And there's Boss Yoshi using the shock into a star. We do see Michigan still has top 2, but it looks like everything afterwards is all Waterloo, save for one spot here in the back with Enor and one more person, I believe. Short with a blue shell in pocket, having to hold it because his Michigan teammates are in first.
That's still a very valuable pull to have, because regardless of the situation, you're holding blue so the other team can't pull it, because there can only ever be one blue shell in play. So either you just hold blue and your teammate gets 1, or your teammate's in 1, they get hit out, now you have blue for the other team in 1.
And it looks like right here, the lead from Michigan has dwindled. We see it is 1 lone Michigan player up there, and then 3 Waterloo players following it. Short gets hit out here. He's still holding on to the blue for his teammate. He's not going to be able to pull shrooms here, at least for this set. As we approach the final lap, the final turns of Rock, we see the blue shell come out as a Waterloo player gets dangerously close to first place. Hits out the Michigan player as the blue shell locks onto them.
This is, and as you can see, all the...
Whoa. Okay, we gotta...
Okay. Okay. So, as you saw at the end of that race, there were all the people cutting up at the end. That's how you make up all those spots on Rock. Notably, seeing Michigan still top 4 in Indivs, I'm going to say that the blue probably hit out the Waterloo player who got into 1, and there were a lot of Michigan players who were caught towards the mid to backpack, lap 3, probably pulled shrooms and helped themselves catch up.
We don't have the spots exactly for that race yet, but depending, seeing the track picks, I believe Michigan got a lot of the top spots there. At the end, we will be going to Cheap Beach for race 3.
Okay. Cheap Beach, notably a very nice track for the mid spots, because you can get a decent item here at this first set, pull off a nice draft, and just get into the front. Especially starting in those back spots, you'll have the coin advantage. And coins on this track are not exactly free game, so being able to just get out in front and run with it with the coin advantage is very powerful.
And you have that ending cut as well at the end of the lap, the dirt cut. It's going to be pretty strong here. We're going to see Iona pull his shroom into second place right behind Freddy. Perhaps opting to not take the cut and to hold on to the shroom. I think that's a pretty smart play, considering right behind him seems to be a few of his Waterloo teammates, but they get bombed out. And right now it's a 1-3-4 for Michigan. Another bomb dropping a Waterloo player far behind. The top 4 starting to pull away from the pack, and it's just Iona by himself up there.
I think Iona realized that now he was the only front presence for his team, so he has to try and play a bit. I don't want to say more aggressive, but he has to adjust his playstyle because he can't play with support anymore. It's just him.
Yep, and we see Shock come out immediately after Iona passes the set. That is definitely a Michigan Shock. But then Ingai dodged, pulls a red, reds out Freddy, it looks like. And now Waterloo seems to be a lot of top spots here. 1, 3, potentially 4, and 6, I believe. The pack's gotten a lot tighter as we enter lap 3 here. This is going to be really interesting to see, LeBob.
So Waterloo has pulled a Shock on all 3 races so far, correct?
I don't know whose Shock that might have been, but we did see Iona get hit out here.
Well, it looks like they attempted to call Iona in the set, but it might have been a little late.
It might have been a little too late, and Iona eats a horn, gets hit out by the star, getting Mario Kart. Oh, now he's really getting Mario Karted. That's unfortunate. We will see a Waterloo player take first place, but it looks like 2 and 3 belong to Michigan pretty handily.
Looks like that's also a bottom 3 for Waterloo. The 1 certainly helps offset that a little bit, but okay. 1-3-5, that is slight loss, but still, considering that Michigan had a lot of tops going into that race, you feel pretty okay coming out of that race with only, what's that going to be? -2, I think?
I believe that's a -2. Now, unfortunately, due to a little bit of technical difficulties, we do not have the race 2 results at this moment. We will get them shortly. So please hold it. Yep, there we go. I believe now we are fully updated, just as I mentioned it. Right now, Michigan pulling away slightly as we enter the last race of the first GP. Up right now by, I want to say, 28.
That looks correct. Okay. So it's Michigan trying to take advantage with all of their mid spots, or at least attempting to, with the gorge pick, knowing that you can pull those shrooms and take the gap cut at the end of gorge and just try and run the rest of the race. Instead, we're going to a very powerful runner for tops in TikTok clock. Notably, the cycles at the NISC at the very end of the lap can depend on your pace. So being in the front might make that shortcut easier to take for some of the top spots.
We'll see how it plays out right here. I'd say the strategy you mentioned earlier for Michigan of not necessarily trying to have their Waterloo's tops run away with it is working out. So far, they've gotten first, second as their top spots in the first 3 races. It's looking all... Ooh, Boss Yoshi accidentally trailing out. Iona threw his triple bananas.
That's a tough trail to have.
Yep, sometimes just your triples, they deceive you and they don't protect you as much as they should. Iona here in last place along with Ingai, but I'm sure they'll cut up very shortly. Yes, quad shrooms in hand.
There's a lot of Waterloo in the back.
There's a lot of Waterloo in the back. There's a lot of Michigan in the front. And they're not really at the distance where Shock would be pulled, so you kind of got to wonder what's the strategy here for Waterloo. Are they just going to keep trying to hold A? Is somebody going to drop to try and pull? How will this turn out? Right now, first place for Michigan pulling away slightly.
Yeah.
With a second place defense for them.
The bottom 2 spots are currently at Shock distance, so
yep,
we could see Shock being pulled out from either of them.
We see now players lagging down, but it looks like 1, 2 for Michigan. No, oh my goodness, a bomb snipe by Iona takes himself out, and Freddy. Now we see Ingai and Sean in second and third, but first place for Michigan is really pulling away now. Waterloo needs a blue shell to hit them out.
The player in the back for Michigan pulled the blue shell and is holding it, which might be why we haven't seen it yet.
That would be incredibly powerful for them. But yeah, it looks like Michigan's going to get a third first place finish for this race. Maybe not. Nope, they are. Lag on the minimap as they took the cut. And Iona's going to get hit out on the cut just as the blue shell is thrown. Tries to activate the smart steering to save himself, but doesn't get it in time.
You hate to see it.
Unfortunate. And that's going to be a 1-3-5-7-9-12 for Michigan. I believe that is a small victory for them.
It'll be I don't think it's quite plus 10, but I think it's around that margin. I think it was plus
Yep.
6.
Somewhere around that. Michigan 181 to Waterloo's 147.
So
I wonder what the
if you're
track picks will
Waterloo,
be here. Go on.
yeah, if you're Waterloo, the important thing here is to know that that was only the first GP. You still have at least 5 more GPs to play this set, maybe 8 more. You can't focus on how they kind of just dominated the top spots, or them being Michigan, had control of tops for most of that GP because they were just able to work their way through the pack and hit out the top 3. You have to focus on what can Waterloo do to try and get back into the control of those top spots. Important to take it one race at a time.
Yep, and I mean, it's only a 34-point deficit entering race 5. We've seen massive leads in finals just get completely destroyed and disappear. Uh, Western University versus New Mexico comes to mind from Division 4 last season. Bama versus Michigan State, FIU versus Nebraska. Even if you get a large lead, as large as sometimes 86 to 90 points, this is finals. Both teams are here for a reason. That other team could still claw back, even with a small amount of races. As we enter Ribbon Road now for race 5.
Pickley unfortunately pulling triple nanas right on top of his teammates. So that's a bit rough. Although that does give Waterloo the back presence, because it does look like Michigan is still content to try and hold this top 2 they have. So Waterloo is going to need those power items from the back. They're going to need those shocks to get some dodges up, and they're going to need those blue shells to try and contest the top spots.
Yep, but Iona with the very slick, smart steering right there to save themselves from falling off. Right now, Michigan has a lot of top spots, but a blue shell is thrown. Oh, but Freddie goes for the horn and breaks the blue shell. This is a very strong top 4 for Michigan, I believe, right now.
Ribbon Road not entirely.
And I believe Sean just back to Waterloo player cutting up. Iona does green out Freddie, but now that's a the top 3 for Michigan. The distance grows wider, even as Iona is in a better spot.
You got to wonder there might be shock in play because those back spots are pretty far back.
Those back spots are pretty far. Possibly another blue shell as well. We don't see many dodges on the field. We see one right now. You gotta imagine maybe they're being held as we enter lap 3.
That's a tough ghost.
That is a very unfortunate ghost for Iona as they lose their shroom. They will hit the double set, and it looks like, I believe that was a Michigan player gets hit out by Ingite there. And Iona's broken into the top 3 at the very least. Activating the smart steering yet again to avoid falling off. Could potentially cut up here in front of Fexican and Whooper. He's going to go for it. He has the horn. He goes to hit them both out. The boomerang breaks the red shell throne. And
it
he
looks
will
like they got another spot
place.
off the rank too. I think that's 1-3. 1-4. Yeah, that turned out to be a very good race for Waterloo considering Michigan had all the top spots.
They had all the top spots for a very long time there.
Just shows that Ribbon Road is a little bit chaotic.
Yep. Man, we're gonna enter the halfway point now. The lead from Michigan, I think, slowly disappearing. I think that was a small Waterloo victory. We see DK Jungle, a track that I know personally Iona is phenomenal on, but Michigan going Mushroom Gorge. For those that did not watch Michigan versus Kutztown University, the semifinals match, Michigan got a fridge on Mushroom Gorge. They got 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th place. And I can say from experience when they played against FIU using Mushroom Gorge, they got 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8. They are phenomenal on that course. If it gets picked here, yes it will. This could be very scary for Waterloo right now.
Yeah, Michigan very much trying to take a firm victory in this first game. They're not holding anything back. They want Waterloo on the back foot for the rest of this match. It'll be interesting to see which players for each how many baggers are going to send
or if everyone's just going to hold A. I know in a lot of lower divisions for CKL, this track is, pretty popular, just straight up run on, but we see here starting out that there is at least one Waterloo player, one Michigan player, it looks like dropping down to bag, trying to pull shock or blue. Iona's going to get
green.
smart. Yep, that's a very unfortunate smart bounce. Slowing down here, trying to hit out a Michigan player as they go past onto the bouncing mushrooms. And now we see Iona in last place.
Iona actually, on the mushroom section, forced C2D2 into his star, which star, for anyone who knows, on the back half of Mushroom Gorge is completely different. You have to take different lines than a star if you're going to bounce off the mushrooms correctly to exit the lap.
Seeing now the pack develop more. Michigan in first, third, and fourth, it looks like. We see Iona pull a blue shell, throws it up. Very nice, especially if first place for Michigan does not have a dodge. We will see as the blue approaches. Looks like no dodge. They get hit and they drop down, but second place does belong to Michigan, so they're not really going to lose any spots. It's now 1-3-5, it looks like, for Michigan.
It's not over yet. This is lap 3 of Gorge, and bottom spots are going through the broken set. As we see, this is a ridiculous pull for 7th place at this position on the track. Like crazy golden.
Oh, he's gonna miss the mushroom though because of the star. He didn't change it. You brought up the lines when you're in a star in the back half, LeBob. He didn't adjust his line.
Waterloo did still get 1, but it looks like Michigan got a lot behind it.
Got everything after.
Goodness.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 11. I said it. This is a very strong Michigan track, and they go out and prove my words correct. And Iona, sadly, unfortunately, having to prove your words correct about starring in the back half of Gorge there. He got a little greedy, tried to get, another extra spot. Still was able to get 7th place. Salvage it just a bit, but right now it looks like Michigan is really firmly in the driver's seat. 50 points ahead going into the second half of match 1.
Some might be grumbling at their screen, calling Mushroom Gorge a custom track. Well, I'm not saying they're wrong. There are thankfully the game actually does provide ways for you to practice those kinds of things more, because with the custom item system, you could just hop on to a computer match, turn only stars on, and then you could just practice those lines. One of the small quality of life changes that the Wave 6 patch brought us.
Moonview Highway for Iona and Waterloo. I just made the same mistake myself. Michigan choosing Animal
Crossing. There is Iona in this league.
There is
like
an
the
Iona
and the school.
Yep. I'm sure many people, just like us, thought that they were the same entity, but right now, entering race 7, we will be going Moonview Highway. This is an interesting track, LeBob. Do you have anything you could tell us about it?
Obviously, Moonview is known for the ability to just run, and I want to say, minimized effect that stuff that Shocks and Blues have on this track. Because if you're getting blued, you can just run into a car to cancel it. And if you're shocked on the back half of the track, there's boost panels, so you're not even driving any slower. I didn't think that Waterloo would choose this for 1-0, but it looks like it's working out for them, as now Iona's in 1. Although on Scooty with the lower speed stat compared to Teddy, Iona has a lot of coins, which means that they should be able to get a breakaway here.
We see Iona cutting up ahead here, first place, hitting the booster panels, getting the drifts and the mini turbos. Right now, it looks like a lot of Michigan, though, right behind him. I believe InGuide is in second, though, but Michigan, yep, they're short right there, third place.
It looks like it's top 2 and then 5 of bottom 6 for Waterloo. So maybe they're trying to get a play going with a shock to try and catch the Michigan players off of boost panels. That'll allow their back spots to catch up.
Yep, we see Iona's Iona's banana being taken by the Boo. Entering lap 3, it looks like there's a commanding. Here we go. Even though they have top 2, blue shell is thrown. Iona does not have a dodge. Pigley's gonna get hit by the blue. Iona very smartly running into the taxi to avoid. Oh my goodness, what an impeccable line right there.
I could have sworn his back tire clipped into the tire of the bomb car and that thing didn't boom.
And Waterloo still holding top 2 right now. Pickley and Iona in second and first, respectively. Oh, but Iona gets hit out by or Pickley gets hit out by the bomb car, it looks like.
Yeah,
Oh
Iona's
no!
very cleanly in one, but the rest of this pack has collapsed in on itself. It looks like Michigan's going to take at
2
least
and
2-3 out
3.
of this.
Yeah, Pickley drops down into 4th, maybe even 5th place. Ooh, he
That's
will
still
get
a good
4, but
rate.
that's a 2, 3, 5, 9, 10 for Michigan. That is really, really strong. Oh man. This is right now. This has really been all Michigan game 1. This is incredible.
Yeah. Although that last race was good for Waterloo, so I guess the Moonview track is the 1-0 worked out. Maybe the lower divs will copy the strategy of the top dogs. Who knows? Because I believe Waterloo ended with 1-4, 6 through 8, so they have control of the mid pack, which I think is another big reason why they're picking DKJ again. Because if you're in 1 on DKJ, you can just run. You get 10 coins on your first lap, especially with the help of the coin item, and from there you can just hope. The mid spots tend to be very chaotic on DKJ, which can help you recover. On the other hand, Michigan choosing Animal Crossing, which I don't think is a very common bagging pick in CKL.
It's not. I haven't really seen this be played any of the streams or games that I've been able to play in, or any of the streams I've watched. It'd be interesting to see kind of how Michigan plays this. It's kind of being picked as an anti-1 almost with the spots that they had, and Iona, the first place, getting hit out with a red shell immediately. And we see right now the top of the pack is really, really close. It's a dogfight up there, but it looks like a Michigan player is crawling out into first.
I don't know about you, Ted. I hate the balloon item set on this track because if you are not in 1 or you are not way behind the pack, it is impossible to get items on this track, which makes it so strong for those back spots because only 1 will get an item, and then if you're in those bottom spots, you might be able to pull shrooms or a dodge, whereas a mid-pack player wouldn't be able to.
And right now, it looks like a lot of the mid-pack going to Waterloo, Michigan, with a very commanding top 3 right now. We see Short and Engite here with Iona. Here we go, the balloon item set. Iona holding onto a star, trying to increase his odds of a better item. Gets triple greens in pocket and takes a star without using his own. I believe he stole one off a Crazy 8 there.
I want to say it was his teammate with a Crazy 8. If they're holding dodges, like, for this long, somebody on Waterloo has to have shock. They might call top 2 after the box set
after
here.
landing glider. We see last place in. Oh!
You pulled it!
That might have been a Michigan shock.
Because no one on
it looks like it was.
Waterloo dodged.
Yeah, that was a Michigan. That was a Michigan shock. We see Fexican dodging with a bullet bill, and even though a blue shell is thrown, it's get broken. This race looks like it's gonna be all Michigan up there.
Are they gonna be able to hold the top 3? It looks like they're able to.
Yep, they definitely are. 1, 2, 3, possibly. I believe that's 5 or 6 as well.
I think that's top 3.
Ghost
5.
takes Iona's 8th place. That's gonna be a 1, 2, 3, 5, and 8, 11. That is an incredible race from Michigan.
Waterloo might have held on to shock too long, but I don't know if they really had a good opportunity to use it earlier.
I don't think they had shock. Honestly, I think maybe
have.
Iona. I think Iona may have been holding the dodge in anticipation of pulling shock. Because, I mean, I know I did say previously that they always seem to pull the shocks and the blues and everything they need, but I think they were trying to. It didn't get to it.
I don't think a lot of people expected any lead in this D1 finals to get to this extent already, as the lead has grown to a 66-point Michigan lead with 5 races to go. Now, again, if you're Waterloo, this is not the end of the road for you. Even if you lose, you do have matches 2 and 3 to try and come back, but you have to make adjustments. You have to try and figure out what Michigan was doing to get into those top spots and figure out a way to stop that from happening. I think Michigan just Michigan's expertise of the mid pack is paying off right now. They have such a strong, because their top 6 is so strong compared to anyone else, they just are able to control the mid spots and make those small gains every race because of it. They'll gain a couple spots at the end because their bottom players are better than Waterloo's bottom players.
Yeah, and we're seeing that strength of lineup for Michigan come out here. I mean, they've been able to maintain a lot of front presence, but they're also able to hold down a lot of the mid pack as well when it comes to the end of the races. Right now, we go to DK Summit, a very I don't want to say controversial, but it's a pretty splitting track amongst the collegiate community, I'd say.
Some
Some
praise
people
it as a
love it.
very good reset, and some call it Mickey, and they're both correct.
We've even had some people call it Disney Kong Summit.
That's my
And,
favorite way to call it.
It's a little nefarious, but right now, as we see, I believe it's quite a bit of mix. We see Iona get his start ghosted, but right now 1-4 belonging to Waterloo, 2-3 to Michigan. But this lead and these spots could evaporate within the next 5 seconds, honestly.
Yeah, that cannon set is ridiculous. Because items in this game are partly distance-based, the further away first place is, you're going to get a lot of crazy items in high spots. So I wouldn't be surprised if there are a lot of dodges in the mid-pack here, and we might see a shot called soon.
Maybe
Maybe
Iona
not.
with the smart steering to avoid overshooting, very smart. Right now it's top 2 for Waterloo. That hasn't been something we've seen often this race. There's the shock. We do see 2 dodges on the field. One of the dodges was a Waterloo player. They're gonna have more front presence now. I believe.
Interesting that the shock was saved for after double cut. More often than not on this track, you see the shock saved for the double cut. However, I wonder if the reason being you can't pull a second shock within 30 seconds of the first one being used. So I wonder if Waterloo held the shock to try and deny Michigan a shock to get their top 2 uncut.
Possibly, but Iona with a very smart red trail right there, hitting out C2D2. This top 2 looks like it's all Iona, possibly even more. I do believe that is a Michigan player in third.
Did Ingai get Shy Guide?
I believe so, but it's not going to matter too much. Blue shell is thrown, but it's not going to hit anybody because everyone has already crossed the line. It looks like this is a lot of
6?
This looks like a lot of Waterloo tops. Yep. There you go. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6. C2T2 kind of salvaging that 12th place by Spoons is going to be a little bit detrimental overall to Waterloo's point gains here, but this is exactly what you need if you're Waterloo. You got to cut the lead down, and that's a pretty big cut down as we enter the last 3 races of Game 1.
The difference is now, I believe, within 40.
This is
no, it's just
44,
outside 40.
44.
It's 44. But that
this
is very doable.
This is very doable.
I've seen comebacks of I've seen these comebacks happen before. It's just if you can chain one runner into the next runner for Waterloo here, this is a very comebackable difference, especially if you can manage to keep Michigan out of those top spots. Which, if you're Waterloo, that's what you have to do. You have to make sure that your top 3 holds that top 3. Because as long as you have top 3, you know it's a winning race.
We see Wario Stadium come out now for Waterloo. They try to pick this for race 1 when they had all the top spots from being host. Coming back into play for race 10, we see Short's point of view revived. There was some technical difficulties with his own point of view, but it seems to be back up and working now as we enter race 10. This is going to be really interesting to see. This is going to be a really tight dogfight. We see a lot of people get hit out there by stray items.
Waterloo pulled 2 sets of triple bananas at the first item set, which is not something you want to see when your team had 5 of top 6.
Yep, Short's going to get a banana, trails it, immediately hits out Boss, Yoshi, Ingai, and Iona holding down first and second for Waterloo. But right now we see Freddy and Short cutting up. Oh my god, they're going to get backed by the same red shell! Fexican right there, though, to pick up the pace, maintaining that 3rd place at least, but that's not what you want to see if you're a Michigan fan right here, because now 2 of your really, really strong runners drop down into the lower spots.
And that's the other part of how Waterloo has to approach these last 3 races. You can't play safe. You're not going to gain 44 points without taking some risks.
And nope, and risks they are taking right now. I believe that is Iona in first place with a commanding lead. I believe that is Fexican though in second, but 3 and 4 belong to Waterloo. Fifth, sixth, and seventh though, all Michigan. Waterloo has a few spots in the back still, and there's Shock, and it looks like a Michigan Shock because Freddie dodges and no one else did.
There was a Waterloo player in the back with a star, but I don't think that was enough to justify that that was a Waterloo shock. That shock is massive for Michigan because
No,
Waterloo
and
still had 1-3-4, but
and
now it's just it is just Iona alone in one.
yep, and Short's building up here into second place with a star. He's going to immediately pop it to avoid getting hit. Iona still has a command. Oh, this bomb could be very devastating. He throws it up off the track. Smart. There was Fexican, his teammate behind him. Didn't
I
want
think
to
they
risk
have
it.
everything behind one right here.
Yeah, it looks like it. There was no reason to hold that bomb. That blue shell's coming out.
And
It's going to go for Iona.
Waterloo had to hold blue that entire race. That's
Oh,
tough.
unfortunate. This looks like a 2-6 for Michigan again.
Yeah, that almost completely negates the gain that Waterloo just had on Summit. So
Yep, look
yeah.
at that. 2-6, 9. Oh my goodness.
Now here's where some of the track pick strategy goes into the like best of 3 realm. If you're Michigan, you're up big.
You're up big. You just
There
need
is
any sort of gain here for Michigan wins. And I believe as long as they don't lose,
it's
as
a
long as they don't lose by more than 22,
yeah, it's a
it's
62
still
point
over.
deficit.
Even if they
So
lose by 20, they clinch the game.
if you're Michigan here, is this the time of the match where you look into Waterloo's track pool and maybe grab something out of it? What's something that Waterloo might want to pick later? I think picking TM here for Michigan, even though you have a lot of the spots behind one, is a very good play because
You see,
reset tracks,
Waterloo tried the same thing, picking Daisy Cruiser, even though they had a lot of the bottoms too.
yeah, they want to try and snipe the very powerful tracks. TM is a very powerful shroom up track, being
It's
with the
very
two big
popular
shortcuts
as well.
through the library and behind the statues at the end of the race. Um, and reset tracks themselves in wars are the things that cause so much swings, or the shroom ups, because they're a lot more consistent than baggers. If you go to a bagger, you're often relying on the fact someone is going to pull blue and shock, and you just have to hope it's you. Whereas shroomers, you can often get away with having bottom spots, and then get into those top spots more, more secure, not securely, more guaranteed. So I wonder if that's what Michigan's angle was.
They win game 1.
I don't think that's necessarily a bad strategy. But there's also the fact that this is not over yet, because as we stated, it is possible for Waterloo to still win this game.
We had a little bit of technical difficulties right there. Sorry about the pause on the stream if it affected you. Right now, we will be going into Waterloo's perspective here. Iona and some of his teammates there, Enor and Spoons, here in the back. Fexican in 9th place. A blue shell is thrown. It's going to hit out Waterloo at the front, but a shock will try to cancel it, but it comes out just a little bit too early. That looks like a very neutral shock.
I wonder, yeah, because that could have been either team. There weren't really any dodges unless somebody appears in a ghost. That could have either been a slightly mistimed Waterloo shock to cancel out the blue, or Michigan could have used that shock before the blue came to make sure that they shock blued.
Cutting back here into Short's perspective. Short's going to get hit out, unfortunately. In 6th place with the Shroom, though, is going to use it on the right path. The right path, a lot less popular. Not many people drive on it. It's going to be pretty safe to hit this double. Gets the triple Shrooms. The blue shell is thrown. He's going to be able to take the final cut here at the end. We see a lot of Michigan in the front. Everything after one. That looks like a 2-3-4 for UM. That is going to clinch match 1 in their favor.
But again, this is still far from over. Even though Waterloo kind of just got put on the back foot early, you still saw a lot of good things. They were still on the races, like on DK Summit where they were able to fully utilize the power items, they were able to have some very good races. So I think that there are a lot of adjustments that could be made for Waterloo in between the matches, but the important thing is just to keep a level head because by no means is this over.
Mm-hmm. And here we go. You see Waterloo picking Daisy Cruiser. Michigan going for the semi disrespectful pick of Vancouver Velocity. This is that is the Canadian special. But race 12 will take out Daisy Cruiser, a very strong runner, one that Michigan loves to play. And this could have pretty rippling effects for games 2 and 3 down the line, because this is a really, really strong track for Michigan, not just, for their current spots, but in general. And with them hosting game 2, it will take away that ability for it to be played.
Yeah, thinking of all the runners that have been picked so far, like neither team can grab Wario Stadium, neither team can grab Daisy Cruiser.
Waterloo can't pick Rock Mountain, but Michigan can't pick Mushroom Gorge as well.
TikTok Clock is also off the board. Then you also have some reset tracks like Summit's off the board. Twisted Mansion is also off the board. So you gotta think, how did these teams like have some kind of secret track they've been practicing in their back pocket for finals?
You'd have
That
to
was a
imagine
nice
Short.
throw.
Yep, Short getting into first place, accidentally running into the banana, getting hit by
He
the
got
Goomba.
Goomba'd.
Yep, he will now fall down into 6th place. It looks like a lot of Waterloo tops at the moment. And, even though you can't win this match, it would still be good to win the race and carry some sort of momentum into game 2 if you're Waterloo. We see a bill there by, I believe, Enor for Waterloo as we enter lap 3 of race 12.
Michigan
Right
has
now,
a lot of bottom spots. I was about to say there's
and
gonna be
there's Blue
Blue or
Shell.
Shock soon.
There's Blue Shell. I don't think Shock's really in play here, but it looks like Waterloo. They eat the Blue Shell, but they had top 2, so it's not.
Move.
That is crazy.
That was personal, 100%.
Very
Whoever the
much
Ink
so.
Striker player for Waterloo was, Short did something to them.
Well, we'll see here entering the last turn of the race. Waterloo getting a lot of tops here, honestly.
No, that's a huge race for Waterloo.
Yep,
Yeah,
1,
that's a
2,
great
4,
race.
5, 8, 9. It's a great race. You're not going to win the match, but you are going to carry momentum into game 2. But we have the final score. Michigan, 514. Waterloo Water, 470. Round 1, or match 1, goes to UM decisively, even with Ingrid and Iona topping the table overall. 4 players breaking 100 points there.
I think that also just shows the absolute dominance of the top players in the room. And like we mentioned, the top 2 players in the room were 2 of the 3 players in those Waterloo top 3 that had been so dominant all season. But Pickley got limited pretty hard by the Michigan players. I noticed early on, Pickley was he was on less than 10 points going into race 4. So things just weren't going in his favor.
Mm-hmm. I mean, right now, I know the result, though, I would say, just overall, it is a little surprising. I wouldn't say it was completely out of the question for one of the teams to dominate, the other one right out the gate. But especially there early on, it looked like Michigan was pummeling Waterloo there. But Waterloo was able to pull it together. They weren't able to win the match overall. They did lose by 44 points, but you won race 12. You won the final race. You got Daisy Cruiser off the board for Michigan. Mushroom Gorge, one of their best tracks, has now been played. Wario Stadium, one of their best tracks, has now been played. So looking at a game 2, there's still, it's still winnable. It's still a set. It's still a game. It's not over. And honestly, I'd say momentum on the gameplay level is on your side, but I guess on a mental level, I'd say Michigan right now has they got it under control. I think they're firmly in the driver's seat right now.
Absolutely. And if you're Michigan, especially being host match too, you can't let off the gas. You have to keep up the pressure. Try and get those big races in those first two tracks, because if you can put Waterloo behind early on in match two, that very that just paves the way for you to walk away with the banner that Michigan has been chasing for almost a full year now. Ever since House Divided won Division 2 in season 1, now the other half of House Divided says it's their turn to win the banner. After Michigan State won it in season 2 in Division 2, it's finally time for Michigan team to take home D1. That's what Michigan is trying to prove tonight.
It's been one very long year for them after losing, the D1 finals last season. Now they're in control of their destiny. We will be back with game 2 shortly with a new set of casters.
Get
So
it
don't
shortly?
you go anywhere.
That's okay. I'll get off the mic now. I will not make a bad joke ever again.
Nah.
And we are back here with CKL Division 1 Finals. Waterloo Water against the Michigan Wolverines. My name's Spicy, and I'm joined on the mic with Top Hat Bear. How are we doing tonight?
I am doing fantastic. I just watched the first game of this match, cast by Ted Bear and LeBob. It was fantastic. It was a close match the whole way through, and I cannot look forward to game 2 more than I am right now.
That's so true. The first match, like, don't let that result fool you in terms of like the plus minus. I think it's a lot of things that can be taken in, be changed up, and this one should be extremely close here. You look at these two teams, and you've played against both of them, and you just know these are some of the best we've ever seen in CKL. Waterloo Water with that kind of roster, Michigan somehow with an also amazing roster. That first game in the regular season was decided by 8 points here in game 1. Michigan was able to break down Waterloo a bit, but I've been thinking about this for a while now. I would not be surprised if Waterloo comes here in game 2 and forces us at game 3.
Yeah, that would be absolutely insane. The storylines heading into this match are crazy. We're looking at Iona potentially being the first ever two-time CKL Division 1 champion. However, Michigan, they were the finalists last season. They've come second syllabus week. They've come second so many times. They're always the bridesmaid, never the bride. But this could finally be their chance to break that streak. And right now, they're looking like they can do it unless Waterloo can adapt. Do you have any ideas of things Waterloo might do in this match too that are different to match 1?
Think the big thing here is how are they protecting the mid pack? You look at the results, the table of that first match, and you're noticing that two of the Waterloo Big Four, you have Pickley and Boss Yoshi, that is had a slightly off game compared to what we typically see from them. And these are some amazing players that we've been seeing and are becoming critical to Waterloo's success. Michigan has done a great job of taking away some of the running presence, some of that strong team play that Waterloo has, breaking that down slowly, and then really just having such a good impact there. Especially now with Waterloo's some of their best tracks being off the board now going into game 2. It's gonna be interesting and I think pivotal to see how is the rest of the mid pack going to play up? Because we know Iona's going to play well. We know Inga's going to be amazing. But when you have a lineup like Michigan does, where 1 through 6 is like scary players across the board, you have to see the rest of Waterloo. They're tap in, realize they're 9-1 for a reason, and see how they're going to force a game 3.
Yes, all of their players have so much experience playing the game. We look at Pickley. He didn't have the greatest match last match, but he won Division 8 of MKU last season for a reason, and he was the leader of that team. He has fantastic leadership experience. He has the best mental of any player I've ever played with or against, and I already know he's going to be back for match 2. It's not even a question. I just know it already. So it'll be awesome to see how he gets into it. I think, like you said, Boss will be try to improve for the next match. And I just have to say, shout out to Spoons. This is his first ever
Yes.
season playing collegiate carding league. He picked up this game at the start of the season, as far as I'm aware, and he's dropping 73 in match 1 of grand finals. He is doing fantastic. If he can keep that up for his team, I think Waterloo could easily push this to game 3.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, we know the talent that Waterloo has. We've been talking about all season. They made rounds. They've made headwaves. They just been making news before the season even started with just a couple scrims. So we know that Waterloo has this talent. But now here we are in game 2. Waterloo, after only losing one game this entire season to Kutztown, is now with their back against the wall, season on the line each and every game. And Michigan, to allude to what you said, always the bridesmaid, never the bride, trying to get that redemption they've been looking for and trying to win it all here and just win in game 2, not even going to game 3. And I have to ask you this. As someone who's played against Michigan for a while now, what makes this team different compared to like previous seasons?
I really think it's because everyone is on the same page this season. Every single player on Michigan has been grinding to improve. Last season, they didn't quite have that. They just fell short of the line. But this season, they're all united in their goal. Everyone wants to play. Everyone wants to improve. And they're working so much better as a team together. Last season, it felt like 4 individuals and then 2 more individuals who are new to the game. But now it is 6 teammates playing the game. And it's awesome to see.
That's so true. You love to see this because let's rewind back to spring 2024, season 2 of 6v6. Michigan comes in, they bring in all these players, but it really felt like just different pieces, not really a cohesive unit yet. But now this is a true team, as you've been talking about, and they are playing like one now, and they are looking to finally bring it back to Michigan, get that Division 1 banner that they've been looking for so long now. But it's been a matter of like Waterloo is not going to be going down without a fight here. Michigan is going to be hosting game 2, has that track advantage as well. And I'm wondering here, what kind of picks are we going to be seeing the rest of the set?
I am going to predict Cloud Top Cruise Race 1 from Michigan. They picked it last season in Grand Finals. I know they're fantastic at it. I do know that Waterloo enjoys Cloud Top too, but Cloud Top is so dependent on the starting position. If I had to guess, I'm guessing Cloud Top Cruise picked Race 1.
Oh, and Cloud Top would be a strong pick here, I think, for Michigan. Not too sure what their spots are aside from first place, but especially with a lot of players on that team having a lot of experience there and playing from before Booster Course passed, you could imagine that Cloud Top Cruise, one of the stronger base game runners, would be a really great pick here for Michigan. So now it's time. Game 2. Here we go. What is the Michigan pick going to be locked into? It does look like we are going Cloud Top Cruise. You clearly knew what was going to be happening, but Waterloo responding with Berlin Byways.
And Michigan are starting top 6 on Cloud Top Cruise. This is one of the strongest runners in the game. In addition to having not a single shroom shortcut, it also has 2 incredibly narrow parts with a super bounce at the start and the leaf cut at the end. If you're in the mid pack, you're very likely to get bumped off at one of these, so the top players on Michigan will get away very quickly on a track like this, and we'll need to see something special from Waterloo if they want to break this.
Oh, for sure. I think it's a matter of seeing what the track is going to be first off, because if it's Cloud Top Cruise,
That's
that
true.
really is going to benefit Michigan. And it does look like we're going to Berlin Byways instead. Waterloo getting their track here, and I'm assuming they're starting like definitely in a lot of draft. Yeah, bottom 6 at this point, it looks like. So, gotta be trying to draft up here. Having that coin advantage at the start should be pretty good for them here as they look to get a lead going in game 2.
I can't wait to see how Waterloo adapts into this match. We saw in their previous semifinal match, they played a really close match 1. They got a lot of track picks, but it was still close to the end. But then match 2, they talked it over, they discussed what they were doing wrong, and they stormed match 2. And I'm thinking it's very possible we see something like this again as Short gets bumped into the wall. He's already into 12 as we see a Waterloo player get hit out while Waterloo draft up to the front.
Yeah, and you're seeing that Waterloo trying to draft up into the front here and really start to make use of not having just the coin advantage, but also the driving capability that Waterloo has been famous for. A lot of those players are just really strong up in those top spots, being able to hold on here. You see Short now in this mid pack in 7th place. Pack is still overall fairly close overall now. Short having triple bananas, immediately getting rid of them, just trying to get rid of any other players around them. As you are starting to see now, Waterloo is in looks like a top 3 situation.
Yeah, Waterloo are in a top 3. However, we are coming to the most difficult part of the track. There is a truck that if you're slow, it'll take your double set, but if you're fast, it'll block you from the grass cut. So it'll be interesting to see how both teams navigate this area. There is the truck right now. Short is slowing down to avoid the truck. There's the second bus, and it seems like Waterloo have kept their top 3, but Short is
Ooh.
bearing down with triple reds, but slowing down as Shock gets pulled right away. This is obviously a Michigan pull, and this will get them right back into the race.
Yeah, Shock Blue onto Waterloo is very bad for them here as Michigan, with shrooms and a lot of other solid items now in this upper mid pack, are going to try and get up here. Freddy's going to be hit out, but you see Short taking the star in the cut right now and is trying to just get ahead and break through these Waterloo tops. But once again, Waterloo is starting to just hold on here, and they have quite a few great items. You see Pickley in second with that Super Horde, and now a lot of great items here for Waterloo as they're just holding on to this top 3.
Yeah, Short missing that licensed item box was hugely detrimental as he doesn't have the items to break this, and neither does C2D2 next to him. He doesn't have anything he can throw forward to break those greens, so unless someone can shroom past Minor, they're not getting past him.
Ooh.
C2D2 is trying, but he's in risk of getting caught after the cut, as it looks like he's driving next to Fexkin with those triple greens. Will he get any hits on the line, or will this be a fantastic race for Waterloo as Short gets back on the line? And we see a big race already for Waterloo. They have adapted. They are coming into the second match with the top 2, 4. They're ready to play. They want game 3.
Oh yeah, Waterloo is in here wondering they just gotta get off to a good start here. They know they can beat Michigan. They've beaten Michigan before, and they're knowing now why not them? Why can't they be the teams who win D1 here? And especially after a performance like that, you wouldn't be able to guess that they had a bit of a rough game 1 now, and are going into game 2 on a great set here. Now picking Hyrule Circuit here, another solid runner. Michigan responding with Koopa Cave.
Yes, I think both these tracks are a lot more commonly picked than Berlin. I think Waterloo had a great advantage on Berlin as it's so rarely picked. They have clearly practiced it, and it feels like Michigan are not as experienced on it. However, as we go to Kuba Cape, every single player here is sure to know this track very, very well. However, it does favor the bottom positions. Can Michigan pull enough shrooms to get up into the front and command a presence at the front of this pack?
Yeah, it's a matter of seeing from this first item set what is being pulled here. Koopa Cape is a notorious shroom up course with some notably really powerful cuts. You have a nice sequence of 3 cuts in a row if you have triple shrooms. But now it's a matter of seeing who's going to be getting up into these spots. You're seeing that Waterloo still has quite a few tops for now, but Short has the really powerful shroom, as we've been alluding to, is going to be able to shroom up into this cut and get the item box as well. And now quickly here, it looks like Michigan is in a top 2 situation with Freddy and Short here in top 2, just trying to hold on to these tops here. And look at this coin advantage. It does look like Michigan's now able to get a bit of a run going.
This is fantastic from Michigan. This is the best start they can hope for. Short and Freddy are broken away already, but it does seem like Waterloo are going for the shock. I noticed in the last game, Michigan did get caught out by the shock somewhat frequently, so that is something they will have to watch out for as we see the bottom 2 of Waterloo very, very far behind going for it.
Yeah, and you see Iona here from Waterloo is in 4th place, has a shroom, but also has a ghost here. Really powerful set of items here, especially if Waterloo pulls shock. They've been notoriously great at being able to have that really strong item and to just change and dictate the pace of the game here. Having a ghost in 3rd place could be absolutely crucial for them here if they're going to try and get rid of these Michigan tops. Watching the back as well to see what if there's maybe any signs of it so far, because Michigan's still holding on to that top 2. Iona having the ghost and now has triple shrooms as well as a red shell here. It got a red up, gotta get up in the set here, but still, Michigan still in a lot of tops.
Yeah, that was a fantastic play from Waterloo right there. Iona popped the ghost so he's invincible, and Pickley threw his greens forward. He didn't have to worry about hitting his teammate, and they were able to all connect on Fexican. And here we see Iona now chaining reds out on short. If he can pull enough reds, he can hit short out. He can take the race victory.
Oh,
However,
Mexican.
Fexican has triple reds behind him. Iona will not be able to throw away his red. He needs it for defense, but he gets hit anyways. And we see Fexican in short resume the top two. Blue has been held all race. We see it thrown now by Sean. Short will make it to the line on time. He will take the race victory, and it looks like Fexican is in second, but Waterloo are 3, 4, 5 behind, minimizing the damage that this race can cause.
3-4-5 is very solid here for Waterloo, but it's a matter of seeing what happens in the back half of this map. And you see actually 7, 8, 10 as well for Waterloo. So it's the top two, bottom two for Michigan. Bit more of an even race it's probably going to be here compared to what looked to be a really dominant race for Michigan at one point.
Yeah, that was a fantastic salvage from Waterloo at the end. I think the biggest play of that race was Iona and Pickley working together to take out Fexican so Short was undefended.
Mhm.
Fexican then had to burn his shroom and burn his triple reds just to get back up to that second, and as a result, none of the rest of the Michigan players had the resources to contest the mid pack. And Waterloo, controlling the mid pack, now picks BWS Waluigi Stadium. However, we go to Hyrule Circuit, the track that is known for being the top two track of all top two tracks. There are a lot of shortcuts on this track. However, there are even more coins than shortcuts. Starting in top two, you get so many coins. Coin advantage from starting in the back does not make a difference at all. So, if Waterloo do not pull shrooms in 3, 4, 5, we will see the top two of Michigan just start to run away very rapidly.
Very true. And you know that Michigan, this is a team that with very strong fundamentals are going to be able to just hold on to tops really well here. And even though Waterloo's going to try and pull some shrooms, take up this cut as you see Iona do so, it's going to be a lot more difficult to break through these Michigan tops on Hyrule Circuit. Seeing a really scary trail from Mexican on to this point now. Iona trying to navigate here, has access to the double item box, has a red shell as well as a shroom, but the pack is starting to be incredibly close so far. I think Waterloo has hold on to a top spot for now. It looks like a 1-3-4 situation
Waterloo
here,
top
and
3
now this
now.
is top three. Yeah,
Yeah, this is an amazing start. I don't even know where Ingat came from. I'm thinking he got a shroom at the first shortcut. He just shroomed ahead, and now he's just running away. He is so fast on this track right now. Despite the shroom, he's still in the lead. Waterloo have top 3, and they have a player in the back looking out for Shock. It'll be hard to see how Michigan gets back into this race. The way things are looking now on Waterloo's minds must be how to block the incoming blue shell. It is very possible they're holding it already. However, we do see players cycling for a horn so that they can take it out. It looks like the blue is coming, and Ingot has nothing for it. And Iona's on the same path as him. Iona slows down a little bit so he won't get hit by the blue. However, we still see a top 2 from from Waterloo as we head into lap 3.
yeah, but look at Michigan. They're starting to work their way up here in a 3-4, at least at this point. Trying to see what's going to be the option here from UM as the pack is starting to become closer now in a bit of a mix. A lot of red, a lot of blue up here in this top half. Ingot in holding on to third place, and you know that Iona's still in first. Whooper right behind, short here, 4-5 at this point, seeing what's going to be the plays. And this lap 3 ending section has the potential to be incredibly massive now. Short and Whooper holding on here. Looks like a 2-4-5 triple greens in the black here from Boss Yoshi getting the snipe onto short, which is absolutely huge at this point. As there's another shot coming in last second. This might change up a lot here in this race.
Yes, I believe that was a Michigan shock, as it seems like Waterloo are confined to 3 of bottom 4. Despite Waterloo getting a 1-3-4, this will be a pretty neutral race due to those 3 players in the back, and is a fantastic salvage from Michigan to keep the deficit close to Waterloo still, as they are now 14 points behind after a single GP.
Yeah, and like
Sorry, 3
despite
races.
yeah, it's been crazy. It's like you look at these races and what we've seen so far, we see one team establish a really strong, really powerful run that we think is going to be really difficult to break. But the salvages at the end, were in a time where these teams are so even, every point really matters here. So you'll love to see how these teams are able to, like, yes, we know it's going to be a losing race most likely, but we're going to try and just gain any points here. Michigan keeping it to 14 after 3 is just amazing for them. Now going to Royal Raceway here.
Yeah, we see points being very, very close. Last season in Division 1, race 12 of grand finals, of game 2 of grand finals, was a 0-point race. The teams were tied going into it. It's very possible we see it again. We see Michigan heading to Royal Raceway. I'm not sure this is a track that's picked very often in Division 1. This might be the first time this season. However, due to the no pick repick rule being on, we will see very, very creative track picks that these teams are not used to. It'll be interesting to see which team has a deeper pocket as we head through this match.
Yeah, you want to see these pockets come out into full play here. And now you're going to see where Royal Raceway really makes its name. A track that's a really strong hybrid for really any spot here. You can opt to bag this, you can opt to run this, and a lot of different ways to play around Royal Raceway. You're seeing Short here in this glider, having those triple shrooms, might opt to bag a little bit or opt to take this cut, as you're starting to see the pack still fairly close for Royal Raceway standards. But you know that going into lap 2, a lot could change here, as while Waterloo's still holding on to tops, a lot of Michigan starting to be right behind.
Yes, this is a great start for Waterloo as they have 1-3 at the moment. Pickley is going for the trail and he gets it. However, Ingat gets taken out for it. However, Shock is transformative on this track. We see Waterloo having 2 players in the very back. They might have pulled it by now. They might still be going for it. I don't see any players holding a dodge yet, so it's unlikely it's in play. But Waterloo does have triple shock odds at the back, which is very scary if you're a Michigan player. Let's see. Shock is very common into first set or after the final set. Let's see what they do at the end here.
Yeah, and now this lap 3 is so crucial here. You know that Shock is so powerful, and you're watching Waterloo has a top 2 at this point, but a lot of Michigan right behind. Popping the Ghost now is Short. Maybe having a late dodge here, because C2D2 also in star. No Shock yet to be called, but you're watching now a lot of Waterloo, a lot of that red up in top spots, a lot in top 2. A Shock after last item set will be absolutely painful for them. Michigan having a couple dodges at this point, but now trying to see what's going to be happening. Waterloo looks to be in multiple tops here, and with this kind of breakaway, this might be enough here for Waterloo to make it. They were holding blue. It looks like the pack is starting to come really close to be a photo finish towards the end, but Waterloo holding on to top 2, maybe getting a bit more here. Might be a good race for them with that top 2 4-7.
Yes, that is a good race for them. However, the bottom 2 keeps it as still a minimal gain. The war remains really, really close still. However, Waterloo have looked like the better team after the first GP. They have a top 2-4 going into the next race. If they get the runner here, they could press their advantage quite a bit.
Yeah, and I'm wondering what's the runner going to be now from the side of Waterloo. You know that because this team has so much experience, there's a lot of different plays they could go for here and see what kind of tracks they can go. Because yes, they want to have a really strong chance to just really gain some extra spots, gain some extra points, and increase their lead. But they also have to realize they're playing for a game 3 in mind. You see LA Labs from the side of Michigan and Bangkok Rush now from Waterloo.
Now, Waterloo can play any runner in the game. In their semifinals match, in match 1, they got first and second every single race except one. They got 10 of the track picks, and they didn't even hesitate. They just picked a new runner each time. They're ready. No matter what happens on this track, they're just going to get, if they need a runner, they've got a runner ready. However, Michigan do get their track pick. We do see Los Angeles Lap, nicknamed Mickey Laps by many due to the chaotic ending. Whatever happens on this track, lap 1, lap 2, it all leads up to the ending. Who can control shock? Who can have a dodge at the end? Who can just not get hit? Because if you get hit after that final item set on this track, you're a fish out of water. There's nothing you can do.
Yeah, there really isn't much you can do after that last item set there, but a matter of seeing. It's a tale of 2 ends here. The beginning of LA Labs easily defined by a really powerful shroom cut. You're going to see quite a few players take up here right after this turn, right by these trees, as Short demonstrates for us beautifully here, getting the Ultra Mini Turbo as well as having a shroom in first place, able to get some coins as well here potentially, and it looks like Michigan now in a few tops here, gonna try and extend this lead as much as possible, and with a really great item there in pocket as well, maybe an opportunity to start coordinating a big play and really extend this Michigan front run.
Yes, LA Labs has a lot of item sets very early on in this track, so blue is pulled very early. Short elects to keep the shroom rather than trying to run up and get a bigger break. However, he uses the shroom now. He puts bomb and cut.
Ooh.
He does see that Fexican has a horn. right behind in 2. If blue comes and they're at a straight area of the track, Fex can horn that out from 2, protecting his teammate Short. As we see Short try and extend his example. I'm looking at the minimap. It's all blue. I can't see a single Waterloo player. This is fantastic from them. However, they do have to worry about Shock as we come into the oil field. There are many, many boxes here. There's 2 boxes right here. There's 2 boxes in the glider, and then there's a double. All in quick succession. If Shock's gonna get pulled, it's gonna be pulled at one of these boxes. And it seems like Waterloo controls the Shock presence. Right now, Short opts to take bottom path. This means Michigan does not have Shock in play. Otherwise, he'd be going on glider to minimize it. He backs Pickley. If Shock comes now. UMF top 4. Short Nana trails out his own teammate.
Oh,
It seems like it is Shockless. Shock has not come. Pickley makes his way up
quickly.
to 2. He's taking shortcuts. We see Ingite making his way
One,
up
two,
to 3,
three.
but Michigan still have a 1-4. This can situationally be a great race for them.
Oh.
Pickley gets lagged back on the line, but 1-4-5 for Michigan will be a great race for them as they begin to claw their way back into the match.
Yeah, and once again, it's another race where you're seeing a team with a strong early game, but then the other team just starts to make their way back. Waterloo could have been looking at a really bad deficit from that race alone, but they were able to hold on pretty much. That's only a +2 for Michigan, I believe. So looking really solid for Waterloo here, going to try and wrap up the end of this first half. They're up 20 now, but you know this, especially with this Michigan team, 20 points is not a very comfortable lead, especially with this many races to go.
Yeah, 20 points is a very, very small amount in Mario Kart, especially when Shock is in play. Either of these teams could make a massive Shock play. Both of these tracks that are on the table have very, very powerful Shock spots. If a team gets shocked out and a team dodges most of the Shock, they could make up a lot of points. And we see Waluigi Stadium being picked. This is one of the most technical tracks in the game. It is so hard to drive. However, I know both teams are amazing at this track, so let's watch them. Let's see the magic.
Yes, and the magic is going to be determined here at this first item set. Which players in the mid spots and the low spots are going to be pulling a shroom and taking that really powerful opening shortcut. You can take it shroomless, but on lap 1, starting off in the back with more coins as well as a shroom, you're going to be able to see a reversal of spots up ahead. You're going to see Short, no shroom to take the cut, instead offering to take it here shroomless. Still holding on to that 8th place, but once again, look at the spot changes. Waterloo still holding on to some tops. A lot of Michigan close behind so far, and it's a matter of seeing which team is just outright better at driving this track, because as you've been talking about, this is one of the most technical driving tracks in this game. Short barely dodging that green as well, and you know that these aggressive item plays are going to start coming in as Short goes down.
Another super, super underrated part about this track is there are just not coins on this track on the regular racing lines. If you want coins, you have to go so far out of the way. And since Waterloo were starting with most of the bottom spots, they will be starting with coins. Even if they don't take the shortcut, they still have the pace advantage. And as we see that, Iona is just running away in 1. We see a top 3 right now with Iona holding horn in 1. Top 4 make it because of the coin advantage they start with that is so hard to come back from. This is looking
Yeah, and you
so
see the
good for
sneezing.
Waterloo.
Yeah, having Super Horn as well in case of a potential blue show is absolutely amazing if you are Iona and the team Waterloo. Because just looking at this, they're just able to maintain these top spots. There's the blue show. Assuming no ghost or no shock, Iona's going to be able to take this. But wow, as I say, the ghost comes in, takes away the Super Horn. But Iona still has a pretty solid lead, and a lot of Waterloo is right behind them as well. So this lead isn't going to be too much here, as Waterloo still holding on to a top 3 by the looks of it, maybe even top 4.
Yeah, that blue did not matter at all. Michigan needs Shock. I think that is the only way they can come back into this race as we enter the final part of lap 3. We see Sean in the very back, super far. Iona has a bomb in 1. It'll be interesting to see if he slows down, lets his teammates through so he can bomb out Michigan, or if he just takes the safe 1, which he does. 1 for Iona, 2, 3, and 4, it looks like, for his teammates. Top 4 is a massive race, no matter what other positions we see. And we see Waterloo extend their lead in the match and put a claim on match 2.
Yeah, and that's so powerful because not only did Waterloo get top four, they forced Michigan into a bottom three, and that is by no means easy to do, especially at Division One CKL. Waterloo here with a sizable lead for now, for at least more than a race to hold on here, but still quite a few races left to go. You can't be too comfortable yet if you're Waterloo. Still want to put your foot on the gas here, extend this lead, and really build momentum for a potential game three. Because I think if we go to a game three, the team with momentum is going to have so much power here. And if you're Michigan right now, what is the plan here to start reversing that momentum?
I think Michigan are going about it right. They're picking a bagger. Baggers do have an element of RNG to them. They are so dependent on who pulls shock. However, the track like Snowland, there are very little coins. They're starting with all the coins. I think Michigan, if they can stay in the back, they can pull shock. Snowland gives massive, massive races. This is a gamble, but if they win this gamble, this is their fast ticket back into the match.
For sure, yeah. And seeing Snowland as like our reset bagger of choice here, especially now, you know that Waterloo is a team that's really good at pulling shock and they could really control this game. You see few players like Iona opting to run for now, trying to get that coin count up. They're not going to be able to take that big shroom cut as you see a few players actually opt to take it now. Waterloo's still going to be holding on to these tops for now at this point and see. But here on Snowland, a lot can happen, especially in case of a potential shock.
Yes, we see just one player running at the moment, which is very classic for Snowland. The cut saves so much time that even if you're in first, even if you have a massive lead, it doesn't matter because one shroom will be your undoing. We see, I believe that's Pickley alone in his own world as the rest of the pack meanders along. Right now, we're coming into the moving set at the start of lap 2. This is where shock is most often pulled. It'll be interesting to see. We see
Oh,
Iona with a dodge in 4. He opts to use it. Maybe they have shock. Maybe he's counting on pulling another dodge as we see him take the double. If shock comes, it
oh,
comes now. Like I called, Iona
oh,
dodges with triple shroom star, which will be fantastic for him. Waterloo are top 2. They do have a lot of spots in the back, but they will easily be able to catch up at the final shortcut. I believe a lot of Michigan were shocked after box, so they cannot take that shortcut. The boxes are not there in time for them to get a shroom unless they want to gamble. Iona takes a shortcut. He has star in 1. It's hard to see how he could lose the race now.
yeah, especially that star. You're basically invincible for the rest of the race at this point here. Assuming he doesn't get ghosted, Iona probably going to be popping that star at any given moment. Knowing that Fexica has a retro right behind him. Yep, popping that star just to be safe. And dodges again now. And that is an incredible move here. Watch the mini map to see what other players are starting to move up because it looks like a few red, I think, have moved their way up as well. So this could have been a really strong race here for Waterloo, or Michigan might have been holding on to a lot of those mid spots. Hard to tell so far, but this results screen top 2-4 if for Waterloo once again, and the shock game. They're starting to get some control, and this is the Waterloo we've come to see develop over this entire season.
Waterloo are just so good at pulling shock. It's ridiculous. It's so annoying to play against if you're on the opposite team. Michigan need to like watch their mental. Like I think they're a very strong mental team, but it's very
Yes.
easy to get aggravated when it feels like all the cards are against you. I've talked to Pickley, the captain of Waterloo, and he told me before semifinals that same day in the morning, him, Spoons, and Enor, they spent 3 hours just talking about how to pull shock. The best ways to do it, and it's worked out so well for them. This seems like a very hard hill for Michigan to climb right now.
And you are seeing Michigan bring out Big Blue, a track you don't see too often anymore in 6v6, but it always had a niche for being a track where it's easier to pull shock, and if you need a big race, you go to Big Blue. But instead, Paris Promenade coming out here from Waterloo Water, a course that's definitely runnable here, but also there's a potential for a lot of stuff to happen, especially in lap 3.
Yes, Paris Promenade is a fantastic track for Waterloo. Well, they don't have any inside drift players. I know Iona and Ingai especially are very fast on this track. If they can avoid the draft at the very start of the race, Michigan will find it hard. There are very little coins on this track. First place has access to the coins. second, third, fourth, they don't. If they can't get the coins, they can't keep up. As Iona pulls a red behind Fexican, will he try and get him off at the glider for maximum damage? He does. Fexican gets hit off on the... No, he doesn't. The lag. I've been bamboozled by the lag again. Fexican keeps his first, which is so vitally important for Michigan if they want to stay in on a track like this.
Right, you want to hold on to as many top spots as possible. Fexican and Freddy are in like a 2-4 situation at this point here. Boomerang in play now, trying to get one, but Iona with a massive trail, and it's pivotal here for Waterloo as they are 2-3 at this point, maybe 2-3-4, trying to see if they can take out the player in first place from Michigan. Triple greens in play from Iona now, staying tight here, making sure it gives really a lot of different options for what they could be doing here, maybe especially utilizing the split path, seeing a lot of players now from the side of Waterloo just holding on to tops, but this mid pack is still really close, and you know on Paris a lot of stuff is bound to happen here.
Yes, Ingai now has the gap in second to start going for doubles. As we see, he does. He gets double reds, and he reds out Fexican. Fexican in one has to go for the single if he wants to maintain his lead, and as a result, Ingai is able to punish him, and we now see a Waterloo top two. Fexican is taking the glider. Does that mean Shock is in play? Fexican does dodge the bomb. However, I don't see Shock just yet. If Shock comes now. There are no item sets on the fast path for miles, and top two get to spend a lot of their small time in the glider. So we see Short going for a play with his fire, but he managed to smart bounce himself. Waterloo are running away with the top
Here's the
two.
Shock.
Whose Shock is that? I don't know who Shock that is. I can't tell. No one dodged.
Oh, that's incredible. Yeah, I can't tell who dodged either there, who's all here, but Short is moving on up quickly. Now is able to take this shroom, cut up, and now it looks like maybe a salvage here, at least for Michigan, with it comes to like maybe a 3-5, but never mind. Top 3 from Waterloo, and if that was a Waterloo Shock potentially, it's feeling like they are having everything go their way at this point. Pivotal race right there for Waterloo.
I think that was a Waterloo Shock, and I think Pickley dodged in a ghost because Pickley was not up in that top group. And all of a sudden, we go to the end of the race, and Pickley is there in second. I don't see any other explanation. I think that was fantastic, holding the Shock late, waiting till a lot of Michigan was past the boxes, and the top two of Waterloo were close to the line. And I don't know what Michigan can do. They've got 4 races left, I believe. They need to make a 74-point gap the way things are. And we see Big Blue, like you said, big races. Can they get a big race, a plus 30 to have the deficit?
Yeah, and it really starts to feel like you need something big soon. Like I like to say, you don't need a home run yet. You just want to cut into the lead. But with the way Waterloo is playing, you need something that hit hard. You need a counter punch because Waterloo just keeps throwing these really powerful jabs, throwing these combinations, able to just keep building onto this lead. Michigan, we're waiting for that counter attack to really come in. Big Blue, the track which we've all been talking about, knowing that there is a potential for a huge play. Lap 3 on this track is so insane because of how much distance this cannon creates. But now with the players just opting for coins here and Waterloo still holding on the tops, it's really difficult for Michigan to break through these at the moment here because Iona's trail is just so scary. And now you see that Whooper gets up but gets trailed at immediately there by Iona as Pickley still holding on to first. Red Shell coming out in play and Pickley now still holding on the first. Boss Yoshi coming up into 2, and this lap 1 already has been pretty insane.
Yeah, there's been a lot of chaos already. Waterloo has come out on top as they still have top 2. That Nana is very, very scary for Short. However, we are going to the most important part of Big Blue, the cannon set. This is what will determine the race. Since it is a double box on a cannon, and since first place is so far ahead, crazy items are pulled. We can see Short pull triple reds in 2. He pulls triple shrooms plant in 2. That doesn't happen in sets in other parts of the game. At bottom 4, there's a very, very high likelihood one of them has pulled Shock. Whichever team has pulled Shock controls this race as we see the top spots go past the set. If Shock comes, it'll come soon. We see C2G2 far in the back. Could he have it?
Well, it's a matter of seeing, is the shot going to happen? It didn't happen at the spot we would have thought it would normally be at, but Short really close behind, gonna have access to the double box. Double reds could change everything here, has one more red, but is able to just navigate their way up with some great item play, and Short looks like they're gonna be able to take first place here. Maybe at least the top two, Freddy close behind, but now it's a matter of seeing what is the rest of the mid-pack going to look like. Top three, though, from Michigan. The 7, 11, 12 isn't exactly what you want yet, but Michigan, top three. They still have some life in them with 3 races left to go.
Top three is so good to have because this is such a momentum-based game. If I was just about to say they're going to pick Cloud Top Cruise. We saw them try and pick it earlier. Cloud Top Cruise, it's very hard to break tops on that track. If they can have their top three keep it and have their guys starting near the bottom catch up, they could just start getting these points back. It's looking like the gap is about 66 right now.
Whoa.
Around there, if my mental math is correct. If they can just start chaining wins, it's very easy to just get win after win after win if you can get your runners. However, Waterloo picking the track known for showing up in lounge and only lounge and never 66 is awesome to see. Iona and Ingai, I believe, are the #1 and #2 ranked Canadian players in lounge. So they definitely have experience on that track. However, it doesn't get picked. Michigan get Cloud Top, and this could be their ticket back into the match. I love that they're still picking one of their best tracks here. There's 3 races to go. They still think they can win this match, and they're going for it. They want to win CKL now.
Yeah, and the math shows that they still have a chance to do so here. It's a matter of seeing what happens in the beginning of this race. You want to make sure that Michigan's able to hold on to these tops. Definitely a lot of opportunities to do so with the super bounce for 1, another super bounce up ahead, and access to multiple item sets as well as boost panels and a cannon here. So Michigan's going to try to do their best to just hold on to tops. A couple players getting hit out early, though. Top 2, 4, top 2, 6 now from the side of Michigan. It looks like watch Waterloo already a few back there, and now it's a matter of seeing with this mid pack who's going to stay alive, because a lot of red here in like a 3, 4, 5, 6 situation now. Michigan holding on the tops, but it does look like Waterloo is fairly close behind.
Yeah, this is a great start for Michigan. They keep their tops. However, one of them gets hit out. It is only top 2 right now, I believe. No, just top 1. 1, 5, 6 right now for Michigan. Waterloo are coming back into this race, and whoever is in 1 must be very, very frightened of being chained out with red shells. As we see the barrage starting from Waterloo, if they get him on the cannon, he falls off. He's falling for ages, and he just can't catch up. But Short, with triple greens in 3, is providing a roadblock. Iona is not
Oh,
protected as a red skips him. If that red hits Iona, it either takes away his defense or it takes him out. It looks like it probably took away his red, and the player in first lives another day as he's not redded out just yet.
yeah, just said, oh, unfortunate there. It looks like a Sean getting hit out in the glider, but it does look like a potential 1-3-4 here from Michigan, and they're just able to keep chaining these runs. It looks like now a lot of Waterloo just hanging in the back at this point. They're bottom 2 here. It's a matter of seeing what's going to be the item set. There's the shock being pulled though, and it looks like Waterloo's going to be coming up now with a few dodges in play, as well as having triple reds in this mid pack. This might be a dagger here for Waterloo now.
Yeah, that might be the match right there. After this, there's only 2 races to go. If Waterloo gets a +16 here, they have won match 2 on the spot. And it's looking like they have top 2 as a player gets hit out on glider. Michigan are salvaging for the end. They're keeping themselves alive in the match. It looks like it's very chaotic at the end. If Michigan can push this to race 11, it'll be really close. Waterloo might have clinched the match right here. We'll have to see as the scores roll in.
Top 2, 4 again. 8 bottom 2 though. So I
That's not
don't
enough.
know. Yeah, I don't think that is enough
That's not
yet,
enough.
but it's very close now, and Waterloo is just extending this lead. It's very Oh, so yeah, it's 70 now. By the looks of it.
70.
So Waterloo is firmly in the driver's seat. Michigan could make something happen, but another big race has to come through. You will need like top 5s the rest of the way,
And we see
even like
Michigan
top like
trying
7.
to burn Waterloo picks. Michigan
Oh,
have given up on
oh,
this match. Obviously, they could still do it. Maybe they could do a masterclass on the Waterloo picks, but Michigan have decided to turn their efforts towards Game 3. They're trying to get the Waterloo tracks off the board so Waterloo cannot use them. And here we see Vancouver, one of the Waterloo tracks, their home track. In fact, the only Canadian track in the game, unless we count Mount Wario. Who knows? That still has to be determined. But this could be very good for Michigan, removing a top Waterloo pick from Game 3.
Yeah, you want to see this kind of plays here, the metagaming that really goes on, knowing that you're going to a game 3 here in Division 1 CK Finals, most likely. Now, if Michigan takes the Waterloo pick and just reverses everything, then I stand corrected. But right now, it's a matter of just getting some momentum at this point for Michigan, who looks to be playing for playing knowing that there will be game 3.
Yes, it's interesting heading into likely into Game 3 here. I'm not sure what either of these teams' bottom barrel picks are. I don't know. We've not seen either of these teams pull them out. Michigan's longest match have been 2 matches. Same with Waterloo.
Ooh.
Michigan multiple times this season, last season have played 2 matches, but we've never seen either of these teams in a best of 3 before. So it'll be interesting to see what they start pulling out as things get dire.
Yeah, and now it's a matter of also seeing like how's the gameplay start to change here. You start seeing Freddie holding on the tops, Iona right behind. It's a lot of typical from what we've been seeing from Division 1 finals thus far. Iona with double reds having to just also protect themselves here because not going to be able to do much because of all those reds as Michigan is holding on to actually quite a few tops at this point, trying to make things interesting and see if maybe they could make something happen here on race 11.
Michigan needs top 5 minimum here if they want to stay in the match, and it seems like they are electing for a risky strategy of 5 run, 1 bag. They're hoping that Waterloo doesn't pull shock and that Short can make his way up the pack at the very end. It is very, very hard to get top 5s against a team such as Waterloo when they have players like Iona and Guy Pickley who will just gain spots out of nowhere. I don't know how they do it. It's always happening. So UM need to pull something crazy as we see Iona slowing down. He's going for shock. Waterloo have decided they need it. However, he pulls Star Bill instead. He bills instantly, but it will not be enough for him to cycle a double at the next set, meaning shock is unlikely as Short is making his way up the pack. Ingite is in 2 though. A second place from Ingite will be enough for this match to be clinched. Boss is in 3. A third place as well is enough to clinch, I believe. So, as we see them round the final quarter, one gets back. However, Ingite takes second across the line, gets the back for good measure, and that is match 2 set and done. We have game 3.
Yeah, we are going to a game 3 for, I believe, the first time ever in CKL Division 1 history. Yeah, Ontario United beats Kutztown 2-0 in the first 6v6 season. UCSD beats Michigan 2-0 last season. But here we are going to a game 3, knowing that's going to be on the line. And now it's a matter of seeing what tracks are we burning at this point before we go to a winner-take-all game 3.
I think it's interesting. Both teams have picked a runner here. I think this is smarter for Michigan because I think Waterloo have the stronger player at the front. We see Ingite getting first places more often than Michigan players can. And if they're removing a runner, either track that gets picked is a runner. If we have to start pulling out the really, really weird runners in match 3, it's going to be harder to keep those top spots. So this could play into Michigan's hands heading into the next match.
It definitely could here. And it really, if you're also Michigan, it's just what can you do here to end off game 2? Get some momentum going into game 3 because after the way Michigan played game 1, I didn't know if Waterloo had it in them, and then they changed everything there. And now winning game 2 pretty convincingly as well. So it's a matter of seeing which team's going to be able to hold on. Short Bear also holding on to the road, barely able to, not going to be able to do so that time though, as you see them getting shoved off into the abyss, not having any items as well. And on this track especially, it can be extremely difficult to come back, especially not having a lot of coins right away and not having items.
Yeah, this track has what, 1 item set lap 3, 2 items set lap 3. You don't get items on this track after this set. I believe there's 2 more sets plus like a single set. And we've only done 1 lap. There's just not items on this track. It's so hard to come back. You can't rely on shock. We see Waterloo already running away with it. They have the coin advantage. They've been picking up coins before can get to them. Iona's holding a ghost in 6 for good measure on the off chance that shot gets pulled, as it looks to be a top 3-6 right now for Waterloo as we head on to the moon.
Yeah, heading on into the moon section now. As you see, Iona in Ghost stealing the coin there. Not able to get too much going, but the Blue Show did target another one of Waterloo. Waterloo still holding on to a few top spots here, but Michigan also making their way up top. And now trying to just get some extra momentum. Iona getting backfired right near the end of that and just holding on to this bomb here, not opting to use it at this point, trying to see if they can chain to another item box here, see what they're going to be able to do. Drifts off of these boost panels beautifully, able to just keep this up. Has a bomb still, has triple shrooms in the back, but at this point, there's another blue shell though. Not sure if that's going to be able to target them right on the line instead, but C2D2 getting hit out there as it looks like Waterloo top 3 to end it off.
That's a good pick for Michigan then. That's what Michigan
Yes,
want. If
it
they're
is.
removing a top 3 track from Waterloo, they can't pick it next match. I'm very, very excited to see how this match evolves into the third war. As we see in best of threes, there's only a certain amount of tracks in this game of each type, and this match has been the battle of the runners. So many runners have been used already. I can't wait to see how these drivers take the runners that are left on the table, or if they start picking other tracks for one.
Yeah, I think you look at the track metagame and knowing like what's available, what's still there. We know that Sunshine Airport is still on there as well. Really pivotal for Michigan to have one of their best courses still left on the board. So, and you notice that like you look back from game one, a lot of big courses by the strong runners being taken off. Daisy Cruiser is gone, I believe. TikTok Clock is gone as well. We have to like think about this because really, there's so many ways game 3 can play out, and this is exactly what you want to see watching Division 1 finals.
I'm thinking there's a non-zero chance we get Swamp Ruins next match, and I
Oh,
would
I'd be so
love to
happy.
see that more than anything. This track never gets picked, and to potentially see it in Division 1 CKL finals would mean the world to me. Other runners I can think of on the table, Piranha Plant Slide, that runner is fantastic. I
Oh,
think
plant
both
slide,
teams
yeah.
know it, but I think both teams don't like it that much. I know Waterloo took a -20 in semifinals on that track, so they might be reluctant to pick it. I'm not sure about Michigan being reluctant to pick it. And there's also Neo Bowser City, which is a little bit risky
Oh,
because there's a
Neo,
shroom up
yes.
early. There's Piranha Plant Cove, which is more of a 1-0. There's Boo Lake, which has a big shroom up. But other runners, Sky High Sunday? Like, are we going to see Sky High Sunday in the highest level of Collegiate Mario Kart? I guess we'll
You
see in
never
match 3.
know. Yeah, you never know. We're gonna be thinking about this, but we're gonna take a quick break. But do not go away. We have one of the most important matches of CKL history coming your way in a few short minutes. We're gonna be right back with some great action here, bringing you Game 3 of Division 1 Finals. We will see you soon for that. History will be written and dreams will be made tonight as we are here with Game 3 of CKL Division 1 Finals. Waterloo Water and the Michigan Wolverines have been living up to the hype and providing us with absolute cinema to kick this, to end off this Division 1 season. My name's Spicy. I'm joined on the mic by Top Hat Bear. How are we feeling going into this?
I can't wait. Like I'm shaking. I can't wait. This is gonna be amazing. Over the break, I was thinking off of a little wish list of things I want to see in this match. I said it before on stream right before the break. I want to see Thwomp Ruins. It would be so cool to see.
I'd be so happy.
It's unlikely. I think it's unlikely, but that would be awesome. Another one I want to see. I want to see Race 12 Weibo, the final track in the game. Being the final race would be so poetic. And the last thing I want to see, I want to see the 19 race war. A friend of mine explained to me how it is possible. It would require a lot of ties, but if we saw this end with a 19 race war, I could not be happier.
That would be insane if we actually get to that point, especially knowing that it's like we're at this point of the set. Well, 24 tracks have already been burned. Some of the best selections from both of these teams are no longer on the board so far. And we were talking about it beforehand, but now it's a matter of what track is going to be selected. Waterloo has the hosting advantage now, starting off in presumably multiple top spots. What do you think we're going to be seeing for them here in game three?
This is going to sound a little off the nose. I think it's going to be Water Park. We got Waterloo, we got
Oh, I'd be
Water
so
Park.
happy.
It's only right. You know, like they have to pick it, otherwise they're letting down the fans.
That's so true, and I will be let down also if we do not get Water Park even selected in game one. Uh, a very strong runner here, and despite the fact that we have not seen any inward drifting bikes on either side, Water Park is such a strong course up in top spots, really easy to hold on while running. But you know that there's so many other options that we could be going to, so there's a lot to kick off here as we go into game three. But while we are waiting, guys, make sure you follow the Collegiate Karting League over on Twitter and other various social medias. We have a YouTube. If you're not already following us on Twitch as well, drop that follow. We would love to see us help grow this scene because right now we're going to be getting into a point where this is one of the most legendary moments of our history. So you want to be sitting tight because we're going to be in for one exciting finish here.
Yes, I can't wait to see what the teams have talked about over the break, what they have thought. I think last war Waterloo prayed really hard to beat. However, we said that about Michigan match one, and Waterloo then put in a 70-point victory against them. And I think
Mhm.
if Michigan can adapt over the break, if they can go for shock war, if they can pull the shock, I think they can win this. I think they can take this home. And I am going to bet on Michigan taking home CKL Season 3 Division 1.
And it would be so poetic if they were to do so here. But I think one of the biggest storylines we're going to have to watch for is similar to what happened going into game two. Those mid pack players, who's going to be coming out on top? After game one, it was Pickley, Boss Yoshi, who had a bit of a rougher game. But then in game two, it was Whooper, C2D2, Sean, who had it rough, was getting beaten down by the Waterloo mids. And now we know how strong those top spots are. It really is going to be a battle of 1 through 6, which is so exciting.
I can't wait to see this. Every single player in this lobby deserves to be here. Every single
Yes.
player is impactful on this match. Every single one of them can influence it. Every single one of them could win CKL for their team. And it'll be so awesome to see what they can pull off.
Yeah, and now it's just so amazing to see this. It really is coming down to game three. First time ever in Division 1 history for CKL that we are going to a winner take all for the championship. And you mentioned it, but both of these teams deserve to be here. All of these players deserve to be here. Like there's so much work going on behind the scenes as well, and like certain things might not show up in the score sheet, but you're watching like some of those newer players as well, and they've been growing so much. Like I remember C2D2 at the beginning of 2024 compared to where they are now, completely different beasts, and it's such great depth for Michigan. You see the same thing over on Waterloo with players like Spoon just doing so much for that team, and now it's going to be coming down to it. Really, winner takes all for the championship here in Division One. Is it gonna be Waterloo bringing a second one over to Canada, or is it gonna be Michigan finally breaking that curse and getting that elusive banner?
And here we go into match one. We're seeing Waterloo versus Michigan, America versus Canada, red versus blue. The veterans who tried last season to win it versus the team trying to win it on their first attempt. I can't wait to see. We should be starting any second now. Here we go. We have game three of CKL Division One Finals.
And it's a matter of seeing this track selection. 24 tracks already off the board. What is the option from each team? Michigan hovering over. They were going to Grumble Volcano. I saw them go Lightning Cup. I had a feeling. And now Bangkok Rush coming in from Waterloo Water. You saw them pick it over in game two. Now having it in game three. This first track, whichever it goes, is going to be so pivotal to set the tone in this deciding game.
Yes, both these tracks are very deceptively difficult to drive, no matter which one we see. We
Mhm.
do see Bangkok. This track has a lot of janky corners on it. It's really easy to get random air and just fly into a wall. So it'll be interesting to see which team is more ready to avoid that, which team has practiced this track, and which team's ready for the strat at the beginning, where all players will drive forwards on the left side of the water area, trying to catch a draft, similar to Berlin Byways. Waterloo started in back on Berlin Byways and were able to all climb up to the front. Can Michigan pull the reverse here, drafting on Waterloo?
Oh,
Waterloo are taking the trick so they can avoid the draft. Michigan are giving each other a draft. Iona and
well,
Pinckney
they're
are working
red.
together to draft. Short reds them out, and we see Iona stay in one as we head to the second set.
Yeah, and that double item box is very pivotal here for Iona, able to steal that. And look at this, 1-3-4 so far from Waterloo. As Short, obviously having to go top path just to avoid a couple of the Waterloo players closely behind. Short has a red shell, is able to protect themselves here, but Inga close behind. Iona barely missing that back, but there's another red shell, and now all of a sudden, Waterloo top three going into lap two. Ooh.
Yes, and this is a massive breakaway for the top two. It's going to be very hard to break out of blue. We are coming up to the glider this track, which does have a pretty nice
Ooh.
shroom shortcut as we see a bomb take out two more Michigan players. But back to this glider, there's a shortcut at the end. This is pretty much the only shroom cut on this track. If Michigan can't get up to the top spots at this point, they're going to need blue to make it back, which means she's Short pulling and Short throwing, but he uses the shroom too early and gets caught in the grass in the shortcut, which will make him struggle to catch up as we see a Michigan player get hit out. Waterloo are top four now, I believe, which is so strong for them starting this match.
Yeah, and now going into lap three, you see Short holding on to this star, and we saw how pivotal shots were, and there's a dodge! Enor also dodges from the side of Waterloo, though, so it's a matter of seeing what's going to be happening here. Short already moving on up into third place, has two shrooms, gonna be able to take a super bounce here, try and steal off some other spots. There's a red shell, though, gonna be hitting out Short, and that's still preserving a Waterloo top three at this point. Now it's a matter of seeing who's going to be securing the last spots. And now looking at this, Michigan trying to do what they can here in a 4-5-6, but it does look like that Waterloo is going to be holding on to a lot of top spots here. And Michigan stealing some mids. Gotta be interesting to see how that map stays out. Top 2-5, but a lot of mids for Michigan.
Yeah, that shock was so sad for Michigan there because they pulled it when Fexican was in Bill, but Enor was also in Dodge, and they opted to try and avoid dodging Enor. However, Fexican's Bill ran out first, and they dodged Enor anyways, meaning it's a hard loss for Michigan to take. They could have had an easy +6, +8, +10 that race if they held shock a little bit longer. However, they escaped only with a -4 as we enter race 2 on either Madrid or Ice Outpost.
Now, I expected Madrid to come through at some point. It's a pretty popular pick across all divisions of collegiate. Ice Outposts, on the other hand, is a very big wild card spot, especially when you consider the spots Waterloo has. Instead, we are going to be going to Madrid, a track that really is beneficial for a lot of different parties here. You can definitely shroom up early, but you can also catch some drafts. Really, a lot of that first opening lap is going to determine everything for the rest of the race.
Yes, I do think this is not that bad for Waterloo. It's not their pick. However,
Mhm.
starting one on this track, you have first access to all the coins. If you get a coin first set, you can guarantee yourself 7 coins by the shortcut. And on a track that doesn't have any coins, being the only player to have a good amount of coins, it doesn't matter if the other players shroom up if you're just faster than them. Like, they're just gonna use these coins. We say Iona in one. He's furthering his lead as Michigan players get bumped out. Short does pull the shroom, but the bump means he is far back. Even if he shrooms up and drives perfectly from now on, Iona will still be ahead of him going into the cut as we see C2D2 as the highest up shroom. Can he have an attack item after a shroom that makes him chaos after the shroom? But like I said, on this track, it doesn't matter if you have shrooms. If you're in one, we see Iona
Well,
in one,
the
Ingite in two. Sorry, not Pickley in one, Ingite in two, and Iona now in
oh, the screens.
three as another Waterloo player shoots up with triple greens, and there's another one next to short. He's in a precarious situation as Waterloo now have top four, and Michigan have to
Oh,
start thinking about getting the shock.
yeah, and it's really scary here for Short, who's running only on 2 coins now, getting sandwiched there, getting trailed out by Pickley with those triple greens, able to shroom up immediately, trying to get back up to top speed, but those coins are really hurting, and now you're seeing Waterloo having multiple tops at this point. Short now able to get the double box as the blue shell tones in on one Waterloo player, and it looks like it got horned out in the process, and now Waterloo is holding on strong here. Michigan's going to have opportunities to take up this cut, but they're going to need a little more help if they're going to break into this Waterloo wall.
Yes, we see them approaching the end of the race. We see two Michigan players very, very far back, clearly going for shock. We see more Michigan players stopping on the set, Pickley slowing down to try and Nana. If shock comes, it'll be after Waterloo, all past the final set. Neither Short nor Freddy has a dodge, though, so even if shock comes, they can't catch up that much, as
Oh,
Waterloo
there's
is
the
now
shot.
down to a top three, but I believe that was a Waterloo shock. Otherwise, Short would not have been shocked mid-cut. That is huge. Sure, they get shocked and lose some positions, but it saves them from getting shocked by Michigan. Sure, it turns a top four into maybe like a 2, 3, 4, 5, but hey, that's better than a
Oh,
bottom
it's
four.
close. Yeah, and you're seeing just how much chaos is happening here. The Ghost had bananas trailing out Short in that process. I think C2D2 is able to steal first, but look at every spot behind. You see 2, 3, 4, 6, 7. That is still very good for Waterloo here. Yes, they lost out on first place, but having all those spots behind one is so pivotal for them here as they extend the lead to 14.
Hey, Spicy, do you know which track is a 1-0?
Which one nothing are we thinking of
I'm
here?
thinking of Thwomp Ruins. Thwomp Ruins is a
I was
1-0,
thinking Thwomp Ruins too. If we
but
get it, I'm gonna be so happy.
come on, C2D2, come through for us. Pick Thwomp Ruins.
C2D2, please.
We know it's near to the scene. They're thinking about picking pinball, which is interesting because that track is considered an anti-one. But maybe Michigan are picking pinball
Oh,
as a
oh.
1-0, which goes against all common norms. But maybe they have some secret plans on this track that no one knows about. Maybe they think pinball is one of the stereotypical American tracks. All the American teams pick it. Maybe the Canadians don't know it as well. We'll see. As Squeaky gets picked instead, I mentioned this during the break to you, Spicy. Waterloo are good at this track, especially Pickley. And being 2, 3, 4, they can if they can hit out C2D2, especially on the sponge, he's just sinking to the bottom of the bathtub, and they're running away with this race.
Oh, for sure. And after you get into top spots, there's a lot of ways to optimize your driving, extend that lead. You see one player from Waterloo burning out now, but it's a matter of seeing from this first item set who's going to be drafting up, who's moving into these spots. So you see a red shell from Boss Yoshi already in play here, as Short also trying to stay alive, but it's a quick draft, and you're seeing a fight for top spots going on immediately as we enter this first pipe section here. Short gonna be holding on to this green shell, just trying to stay alive at this point, and it's just already been a crazy first section here. Battle for first place. Short gets the trail off, but now it's just a mishmash of spots, just a great mix up here. As just seeing this lap one, a lot still left to be played.
This is the only lap where this cut saves time as Short gets nanned right before the cut, which is going to cost him massively, as it seems like Waterloo are in top 2 with Mexican, Short, and Freddy in behind in support. Waterloo have pulled that shock. I don't know if that was spammed. That must have been spammed, because surely they hold it for later. They can't expect Michigan has shock already. But the shock does help out Waterloo as Spoons dodges, and now we see a top 3 with Waterloo starting to run away into the drain section.
Yeah, and running away is so pivotal here. Look at this. A lot of red in here in our top 6. And Ingite with a devastating horn, taking out a couple players in this pack here. Those for the green shell snipe, and Short connects. And it's a huge play here, as now a couple of Michigan fighting their way up. You see Boss here with a boomerang in play, but Short also right behind with Fire. Fire right behind Short as well, getting him connected out, as Freddy actually maybe with a team kill there. A lot of this pack is still fairly close together though, and now here on lap 3 with a Bill in play, it's really anything is up to grabs here, Top Hat.
Iona's in such a nice spot with that Bill. He's so close to the front, but he does
Ooh.
get nanned out. He opts to pop his Bill instantly instead of saving it for the extension. This will bring him up. We now see a Waterloo top 2-4. As Iona has a golden, he'll be able to take the next shortcut. This is looking really, really good for Waterloo once again as they go into the final item set. Michigan needs shock now if they want to catch up. We see a ghost in play. Will shock happen, or will Waterloo run away with top 2? We see the blue coming. Blue must have been held as Iona and Pickley cross the line. Top 2 again from Michigan. 3 races in a row now. And we see UM filling out the mid spots. That is a slight gain for UM. I believe that's +2 or +4. Sure, they can do this. They can try and keep the mid spots, but it's risky. If just one race, Waterloo starts getting those mid spots, Michigan are done for. They need to find a way to break these tops if they want to win this match.
They have to break
I forgot about this rudder. I forgot about this rudder. Oh, yes.
Oh, it's coming
Come
by
on.
here now. That
Wait,
is insane.
we
He's
are
like
in the
perfect here.
We're in track pick heaven right now. 2 like completely unseen track picks. We don't see either of these very often. And either one, I don't care which one gets picked. I know it's going to be a fun race to watch. Ninja Hideaway being a big runner. Sweet Canyon being a drafter with also a shroom cut at the end. It's kind of a mix of Gorge with the big shroom cut, but also DK Summit with the cannon set. However, we go to Ninja Hideaway. This is a very, very interesting track to watch. If you're starting the top spots on race 1, you want to go for the coins on the top path. However, the middle spots can go for the NISP, which will make the pack close up very tight up onto the glider. This will be awesome to watch. Let's see how they do. Let's see if any players get bugged out early and are unable to take the coins.
Oh, and I love Iona going for that trail right there. Top 2 from Iona, immediately going to go for these coins. But also, you see that Waterloo started off in like bottom 3, so they're able to get shrooms and take that cut with some speed as well. And now this is like a perfect situation if you are Waterloo. Look at this, top 3 already here, trying to just fight off in these spots, because after that first shroom cut, it becomes a pretty strong runner here, especially if these players know the shroom was cut, and at this level, you would expect them to. And look at this, so many red Yoshis up in these top spots. Mexican trying to stay alive here.
Yes, and here we go as we're approaching lap 2. This is the most fun part of the track, in my opinion. The NISP. We won't get to see Iona go for it as his teammates will be opening up for him, but this is very tricky to do right here. Let's see if Ingat can open the way for his team without getting hit out. We see Boss and Iona bumping each other out, but it doesn't matter as Ingat opens up for his team. None of them need to worry about hitting it as we see them maintain their top 3, and they have a lead that the blue will surely not hurt them that much as we see them maintain the top 3 as we head to the end of lap 2.
Now the question in here is, when is shock going to be in play? You watch that mini map and you see pretty much Michigan full odds here. If it's going to happen, it's going to be happening here on lap 3, and it could be devastating. There's the blue shell. Are we going to be seeing a shock blue combination? Yeah, because Waterloo in top 4, they're going to have the cut open as well. Something devastating to happen, that blue shell gets canceled out. It looks like, and this is looking really solid here for Waterloo as this race is at the end.
Yes, we've seen Ingat open the cup for his team. We've now seen Pickley open the cup for this team. I think these guys were hiding this in the locker for match 3. This track does not get picked often, yet these guys are providing a masterclass on this track as a Michigan player gets hit out and they maintain top 4. No matter what the other spots are, top 4 will be massive. As Pickley lets Iona through to get first, could Pickley be out of runners to choose? Does Pickley want Iona to come first so Iona can choose runners he likes now?
That would be one of the most big brain, most brilliant plays I've ever seen, because that top 4 from Waterloo, it doesn't matter who's in first. You get to now go in with a great runner of their own here, as Waterloo once again is gonna be extending this lead. And while we are still only after the first GP, getting a lead at this point is really pivotal here. And if you're Michigan, time is going to start ticking soon. What is the response speed? You're taking all of these punches. Which is the track that's going to be that really powerful counter hit? And see what we got as Waterloo once again locking Music Park in, and Trainbow now from the side of Michigan.
Here we go. It's awesome to see Trainbow. I know Short hates this track with a passion. He cannot stand it. Pickley loves this track, but this track is so nice for bottom spots. It is the track in this game that advantages the bottom spots the most. So you know Michigan are truly desperate to start going for it. However, they don't get it. We get Music Park instead, which is one of the strongest runners in the game, which could further Waterloo's advantage even more as we head into this next race.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm thinking about this now. Waterloo going into race 5 on game 3. They're getting the tracks that they want here. And they know that, especially after Ninja, there's a lot of momentum on their side. That's such a pivotal point to consider here. Michigan needs to figure out a way to break through this Waterloo stronghold that they've been struggling to get through here since game 2. And you're watching this now. Players like Iona from Waterloo are going to be driving this track beautifully, just being able to take all these cuts here, and including the key strat, going to be going for these super bounces and just maximizing this driving opportunity, as well as grabbing the coins here. Absolute clinic that we've been seeing so far from Iona.
Yes, yes, I do think this is an interesting pick. Whooper is known for being one of the greatest players on this track. There's 3 tracks that Whooper just clearly gaps the competition on. It's this one, it's Neo Bowser City, and it's Hyrule. And we see Whooper's already up to second. Iona gets smart bounce. Whooper is in 1. C2D2 in
Bananas.
second, with Freddy in 4th. In an instant, this is turned into Michigan making their way back into the match as they control so many of the top spots. However, they need to watch for Shock. The only players at distance seem to be Waterloo, and Shock has come to bite them so many times in the previous match, especially. They're playing a risky game here in Game 3 of Grand Finals, but clearly they think this is the way to do it.
A dangerous game indeed so far, short chaining their star into that item set, only pulling a shroom here. You saw at least one bullet bill in play as well from Enor.
They have
and
Shock.
Now it looks like Whooper, there's
They have
Shock.
Shock.
Yeah,
Enor's
you
carrying
see
Shock.
Waterloo has
Enor's carrying
Shock.
Shock.
Oh my god. There's the
Here
Shock
we
come
go.
through, as you mentioned.
They got everyone after set. Every single Michigan player bar
has
one
another
after
star.
set. Pickley has a star in 5. He's going to cause chaos here. You can hit out Freddy. C2D2 gets flattened. Whooper's still gone in first, but it seems like Waterloo are 2-3 at the moment. No, we see a Waterloo player must have dodged in a ghost up top and is now in 1. And here comes Blue. Is the Waterloo player going to drop? It looks like they might be. They didn't drop in time though, and they get hit out. Iona gets hit out. This is top 3 now for Michigan. What an ending! But Waterloo a second Shock. Short is backing up, and the cover shooting gets redded. The shoot gets taken. That's tragic for Short. And he ends up in 12 while being in second due to being comboed. That is the nature of Mario Kart. However, top 2, 6, 7, 9. That is still a gain for Michigan. Like I said, as the race started, Whooper is insane at this track. He got shocked. He got shocked again, and he still wins somehow. Don't pick this track against Whooper.
And that is one of the greatest moments we've ever seen in CKL history. And to think we still in the first half of game 3, and look at this now, Sunshine Airport coming into play from Michigan, and now also Excitebike Arena from Waterloo. And it does look like we are hitting the airport this time, taking flight and seeing if Michigan has what it takes to start clawing their way back into this, or is Waterloo going to try and extend the lead?
I think this could be great for Michigan. I don't think they've got many track picks in this match so far. They've got their runner. This is one of the first times they're starting in first this match. And if they can hold those top spots, they can extend it. Sunshine Airport, after the first shroom up cut, you're just gone. You can't catch up on this. To take that shroom up cut, you have to skip a box. So it becomes a risk to take it. You only really want to take it on lap 1 when the other players don't have great items. So let's see, can Iona, with a shroom, get into first? Can he stop the front presence of Michigan? Or will Michigan run away on their runner? As it looks like Iona and Enor are 1-3 at the moment, with plenty of Michigan players surrounding them. No one has a red shell for Iona. He opts to go wide for the double as Short goes for
Oh,
the single and gets a coin in first. He goes for a gamble and it does not pay off. Iona back into Shroom. Iona got double defense there as Short gets
defense,
redded.
yeah.
It is 1-4 now for Waterloo, and they are in the driver's seat at the airport as we head into lap 2.
Keep in mind also Waterloo has bottom 3, it looks like, as well, so they might be able to hold blue shell, or they might try and like have shock and make some creative plays happen in here. As you see Short watch backwards now, there's a blue shell coming through as Michigan takes the lead up in tops, and now it's a matter of seeing what is the options going to be here. As you are seeing that blue shell connect, it looks like it's going to at least, yeah,
On
right
the
over the
glider.
glider as well. That is devastating here, but a
Wait, did they
bomb, it looks
dodge
like, on
it?
the mini
Did
map.
they dodge it?
Oh,
They're still in
oh my god,
first,
I have no idea.
and they're now in second and third. How is
They
this
have
turned
three.
into a Michigan win here? Is that a shock that you guys heard on? Is that Star? I can't tell. I think it's just Star. Waterloo are 5 of bottom 6 right now. Shout out LeBob.
Triple Reds.
As Short is trying to take out the Reds, it is a very smart play, allowing his teammates to run away with it. As we see Iona in fourth, trying to get items to break this top
Oh
3.
my god,
He
Star
gets
5.
Star, Ghost. If Shock gets pulled, they win.
Oh, for sure, yeah, with double dodges here in 5. This is pivotal. This last set will determine everything here to end off this first half. You are watching it there, and there's the shock, as we've been alluding to, as Iona dodges, has triple greens coming up now, trying to steal another extra spot in the process here. Ingate also moving up into 2, as Iona gets hit on right before the line, and a couple other of Waterloo members getting hit out. A difference of spots there, but what could have been an insane Michigan run ends up just being a 1-4, as a lot of Waterloo holding on to those upper mids.
Yeah, that becomes a pretty close to neutral race. Michigan seemed to be in the driver's seat. It seems like a +4 for Waterloo there, if my mental math is correct. Waterloo are so good at pulling the shock when they need it. Every single player on the team is unselfish. They're willing to make the play. They don't care if they're getting low scores individually. They're just going to go for the shock. They know it'll come. If you spin enough boxes, shock will come. And they're showing that off to great effect. Let's see which 1-4 runner we see. Could it be Thwomp Ruins? They're hovering near it. Come on, Iona.
My
They've
heart is
gone
like
away from
racing right
it.
now. In
They've
case,
gone away
wait,
from it.
oh,
Excite back in. DK Jungle. Have we
I'm
seen
surprised
this
Jungle
one
hasn't
already?
been picked yet. No,
Yeah,
Jungle hasn't even been picked.
Jungle has not
Like,
been
not
picked.
even selected
Wow.
at once.
I guess
It's
you're
been held
right.
off for this late, yeah. Well, we're going
Michigan
to a
love
site
this
bike
track. Like
arena.
this is one of Michigan's best tracks. They love this track.
Doesn't
So
matter though. Excite Bike
yeah,
Arena is now being played here to kick off the second half of Game 3 D1 Finals.
here we go. Watch Iona here. He loves this track in lounge. Iona loves the weird tracks. This is one of them. It is deceptively technical. You'd think, oh, you just trick off every ramp. No, this is maybe the hardest track to drive in the game. As we said, Iona put on
Oh,
tilt controls. Is that? Did I see
I
that
think
correctly?
so.
What
Maybe
are we
from
using tilt
Glider
controls
last
on
time?
this map? Oh, he motion glided at the end of last lap. Yes. That is insane that he goes for that, just for that small time save on Sunshine Airport. As we head into the latter half of lap 3, Iona has 2 shrooms. Shrooms are transformative on this track. It allows you to take the cuts, as we should see Short shrooming up into first, Iona in second. Short is trailing in 1. However, Iona can shroom up the next cut into the lead of the race. If he doesn't get trailed until then, he
Oh,
seems to have more coins than Short, or maybe he's just better at driving this track because he's catching Short quite a bit. We see him shroom into 1. He trails
oh,
out a
beautiful
Michigan player
trail.
in the cut and gets the double. So he now has defense, but Michigan seem to be 2-3 with Waterloo in 1-4 at the moment.
You want to watch the back of the map as well. You've been seeing time after time how does a shot change the pace of the game. And you notice now one player from Michigan is back there, but also quite a few of Waterloo as Iona getting
Top
hit
four.
out there right before the end of lap 2, getting comboed right before the end as well. And this could be shaping up to be a pretty interesting situation as the blue shell comes out. Gonna be targeting at least one Michigan player by the looks of it.
Yes, Michigan were in top 4 before that blue shell. They should still have top 3 as it looks like a lot of them are cutting. Sean might have an attack item in 7 that he could use to take out Iona, but this is looking really, really good for Michigan. Their top 3 are pretty far gone. A shroom cut won't be enough, I believe, as Iona's trying to make a big play, shooting fire up, but Michigan maintained top 2. C2D2 gets hit. We see Pickley get hit as well.
Ooh.
Sean is making his way up. That should be a fantastic race for Michigan, and this is making grand finals, top 2, 5, 6, 7. This might be a tie game after 7.
Top 2, 4, 5, 6, 10. That is exactly what Michigan has been looking for. You've been seeing them take the punishment from Waterloo time after time. Those jabs, those constant races of Waterloo positives. We went from plus 30 to plus 4 as Michigan has clawed their way back here with 5 to go in D1 Finals Game 3.
That's just boggling. Like, I don't know what to say. I'm speechless right now. We have 4 points separating the two teams as we have 5 races to go. We've got a GP and change for these two teams to separate themselves from another and crown themselves the CKL champion. You see Michigan pick DK Jungle yet again. Michigan have not been able to pick many runners this match as they've kind of been controlling the mid spots. That's been their game plan. They've been executing it well enough. But now that they have time to run, Daisy Circuit, there is a shroom up, but you skip all the coins. Daisy Circuit is not bad for 1. So let's see what Michigan can make with their first on Daisy Circuit.
And it's also important to know that both of these teams have been really strong on the opposing track picks as well. You look at what happened. Waterloo salvaging on Sunshine of Michigan. You see Short burning out here right after doing incredibly well on Excite Bike Arena, which was Waterloo's selection. So now it's a matter of what's going to be happening here. Short doesn't have any coins at this point, but is going to opt to take the cut as well, just to get into those, get right back into that pack. Have those double items is going to pull those shrooms, and you are going to see what makes Daisy Circuit sometimes incredibly volatile at the beginning, to how close these items are, as we see one player getting smart bounce, a couple of reds in play so far, as Short having to go wide for coins just to stay alive and just trying to keep up here, as triple reds coming out in the pack from one of their teammates, as Short has triple Nanas also in pocket.
Yes, we see on Daisy Circuit there are so few coins on this track. The best place to get them is on that final quarter right there, but you lose so much time going wide. However, Michigan have top 2 right now. Short elects to go around cut so we can stay in the back. Looks like a top 3 right now for Michigan. They've turned their fortunes around. This is looking like Waterloo now are the team who need to pull shock to get back in it, as Short takes out another player with fire. We see a top 3, 5 now coming out for Michigan as we head into the final lap. Short elects to go wide to get a double. Will he slow down to plant some of the players? No, he keeps running. He has shroom in pocket. He could leverage this shroom to make his way into a top 4, especially if Wooper can hit out Ingai. This is looking amazing for Michigan. If Waterloo have shock, they need to use it after the glider. Shocking Michigan on glider will do nothing. If we see shock,
Ingai has a
it'll
star
be right now.
Ingai stars
Ingai, is
in
it a
2.
star? But it looks like they don't have it. They don't have it yet. So this is looking really good. We see 3 bills coming up. Could one of the bills have shock behind them? As we see Ingai in 2, but all of Michigan around them. Short goes wide for a double. Once again, he pulls triple reds. He gets one of his teammates, but he gets Iona as well. C2D2 is behind him. This is a 1, 3, 4, 5 right now for Michigan. They have taken the lead of the match for the first time since game 1. Michigan are leading.
And
no, Ingai got 1.
Oh my
wow.
gosh.
It doesn't matter.
Oh,
I think Michigan still take the lead.
I'm fairly sure they do here, and we have set ourselves up for absolute cinema. After being down about 30, you see the change that Michigan has done. They've clawed their way back, and not just back, but they've been able to take the lead. They are up 12 going into the last GP here of D1 Finals Game 3. Winner takes all. And look at these track selections from both of these teams. Ice Ice Outpost from Waterloo, Sweet Sweet Canyon from Michigan.
Could this be Michigan finally getting married? I am so
Oh.
excited for this grand wedding that we could potentially see. We see Sweet Sweet Canyon being picked. Fantastic drafter. Not many teams pick this. If Michigan are ready to play this track, they could do some serious damage to Waterloo. However, they do have to watch out for the cannon set, as we've seen over the past however many races, 24, 28, 32 races. Waterloo pull shock. That's just a fact of life. You play 12 races, Waterloo pull shock. You got to watch out for that on the cannon set here if Michigan want to win this track.
For sure, yeah, the can set. How that changes the items is going to be really pivotal as this race develops into lap 2 and lap 3 especially. Watch as all these drafts come up here, but the big thing about Sweet Sweet Canyon, the ending shroom cut at the end of each lap. It's going to be interesting to see who's going to be able to take that cut, because right now it looks like a lot of players are just outright front running this. One player of Waterloo is already back there, and quite a few Michigan up in top spots. But who's going to be looking to take this shroom cut? Short's going to be one of them, and now you start to see the pack unravel here. It looks like a 1-3 Whooper and Short from Michigan. Pickley into right behind. Watch that green, and here's a potential thing happening here. But Short might be going for that cannon red, and it does connect potentially. Looks like it does connect, and top 2 now for Michigan.
It's looking good for Michigan, but Waterloo has 3 of
Rep
bottom
on
4.
tights.
They're the only ones who stopped before the cannon set. Michigan are playing a risky
There's
game.
a blue.
As we see blue coming, could we see a shock blue coming in to end Michigan's race right here as Short gets clipped by the blue? That is unfortunate, but he can use this to slow down and red one of the Waterloo players. He reds the plant. They don't have any defense. He escapes. He reds Iona before cut. Short is causing chaos in the mid-pack. This is fantastic as their top 3 have a break. They need to tell their 2 players in the back, hit the brakes. Do not let them pull shock at the cannon. But Waterloo are going for it. I see a player stopping. I see a player very far back. C2D2 is also stopping. However, they have triple odds over at Waterloo. Will we see a shock after this set right now?
It's now that time, and you're right, as you called it. There it is! Waterloo once again gets a shock, but look, Sean dodges at least, which is really pivotal for them up in Michigan, and just trying to hold on to these top spots, and now you have multiple shrooms in play into this mid-pack, and this last item set is gonna have such a story to tell here. You see Short chain into that double box, gets fired out right before the cut here, as Spoon's also having a Nana, getting rid of Short, who does not get started off here, but what's happened up in the top spots? It looks like maybe Michigan held on. Top 2, 4, 5.
8.
The shock is not enough.
That's going to be like nearly a 30-point lead with 3 races to go. Waterloo will need to average over 10 points a race if they want to win this. This is looking really good for Michigan as we see they have a 32-point lead with 3 races to go. We've seen some fantastic races. We've seen Short get comboed once again. Someone needs to check in with this man. Maybe the only cure for him getting comboed, he needs help. Maybe a win would make him happy. Maybe Michigan can win to cheer up Short after this horrible luck he's been getting. As we see them struggling to pick a runner, Short is scrolling through the maps. As we see Maple Treeway and New York Minute getting picked. We are in the depths of the booster course pass here.
You know, before we went into game 3, I was thinking in my mind, what if we see New York Minute? I was thinking that jokingly. We are seeing New York Minute here. And now, it's keep in mind this. So, yes, Michigan's up 32, but this seems eerily familiar to what Waterloo was at not too long ago. Up like 30, and then you see how quickly that changed. We can't count out Waterloo. They've been here time and time again. They've been shown why they deserve to be here. Michigan does the exact same thing. And here we are, race 10 of game 3. New York Minute. Let's see how this race develops.
Yeah, you're totally right. As long as either team is mathematically in it, they're in it. Who knows what will happen. We see both these teams being able to pull anything out of the bag. They pull the rabbit out, but then they pull out a 20-point race win. So, as we see, Short starting, he gets green. This man's luck is insane right now as Waterloo seem to take the lead, but looking at the mini-map, it's actually Michigan in 2-3 behind the Waterloo player. As Short goes for a nano snipe, but he misses. But this is looking like a very split mid-pack right now as we head into lap 2.
It's so close right now in this mid pack, and keep in mind how short the New York minute really is. If a blue shell happens, it's really devastating. Same with shock, especially near the end. Fire coming out in this mid pack as these items are flying across New York City, just trying to take out any player left here. As it's looking like a 1-3 so far from Michigan. Waterloo close behind in a 2-4. That banana is still there at this point, and now we're in lap 3, and this is where the end game of each map starts to really matter, as Short about to get red shelled here, and now a lot of Waterloo moving on up.
We see Michigan have learned their lessons from the last race. They have triple odds at the back. They're not letting Waterloo get those boosted odds upon them. Iona has Bill. Iona's Billy. This will be great for catching up. This looks like a really, really good race for Waterloo as they're all behind one, but Michigan holding that first place will minimize the damage quite a bit as we see players getting hit on the line. Either way, I think Waterloo got a lot of spots after one.
Ooh.
They did, but Short
Before
and Whooper clutching up for 5 and 6. I think that's a pretty even race. It is becoming very, very hairy now for Waterloo. That was not as good of a race as they wanted. Let's see what they can do on race 11.
Yeah, it looks like a small positive. I want to say that was like a +4. I think we're at 28 now going into these last two races.
I can't
DK
take it.
Mountain,
I
I
can't
was
take it.
thinking of this also. We might have been seeing DK Mountain. Here it is, and this is another track where, geez, there's so many things that could really be pivotal here. And you know how well Waterloo's been pulling shock. You can really look at these two maps here, the distance these
Maple
cannons create.
Michigan once again are picking an anti-1 when they have 1-0. I think they've developed some secret tech that we don't know about. Short's cooking up something crazy, and I'm excited to see what it is. If Treeway gets selected, no, we see DKM, which is a very, very hard track to drive. All players will surely be ready for it. Let's see what they can do as we head into race 11 of Grand Finals. We just have 2 more to go to crown our champion of CKL Division 1.
The penultimate race right here, assuming we don't go into overtime, which at this rate, you never know. But DK Mountain, not only is this a difficult course to drive, but on the counterpoint, this is a fairly easy course to pull shock on. The cannon especially is going to make things really interesting. Then the cut, the rock cut, as well as the notorious cut at the end, makes this course so strong to pull shock and change the entire way this race is played. And you know it. Waterloo's been pulling shock time and time again. They've gotten so much value off of them typically. Now it's a matter of seeing what happens here. Top 2 from Waterloo so far, but DK Mountain, very volatile. Let's see what happens.
Yes, we see Whooper getting a lag trail out on Iona, getting punished with a red shell. However, he seems to not get hit by it as we head to the end of lap 1. Let's see if Michigan has learned their lesson from Sweet Sweet Canyon. Will they wait at the cannon set, or will they let Waterloo control the odds? As the front pack is fairly split, it's looking like it'll come down to the back. Who can pull shock? Who can make the most of their shock pull? As right now, I think that's a bottom 3, a bottom 4 for Waterloo. Michigan have given them triple odds again.
Once again, indeed, and it's also important to note that Waterloo is kind of going for it, knowing they kind of need it. If they don't get it here, if they have a about like a -14, that is game, set, match, and Michigan will be your champions here. So you are watching this map, seeing what's going to be at stake here for Waterloo, knowing season on the line. The Super Horde coming on out, not going to connect onto Short, but Short is going to be running up onto Ingai, but Iona holding on to top spots for now, and now lap 3. This is where dreams are made of here, and this could be it. Michigan might try to seal the deal here on this race, but that blue shell already coming out now, so let's see what happens.
That was such a smart play from Iona. He slowed down right before the set so he could try and pull a red, and red out short. It didn't matter because blue ended up being pulled, but Whooper trails Iona. This is top 3 now for Michigan. This is looking really good as shot comes in. I believe that's from Sean. I think that's a Michigan shock in the back. Waterloo cannot pull shock anymore unless they dodge this shock right now. It's a neutral shock, but a neutral shock benefits Michigan as they maintain their top 3 as we head into the very end of the race. Let's see if Iona and Ingai can pull something out of the back to save their season. One gets hit. Can they hit more to save their season, to put them in a good spot heading to the final race? They almost collide. Will we see some backs in the line? Iona has to go for it. That's a top
This is
2.
close.
Michigan have
It's
put themselves in such a nice spot heading into the final race. They've not won it yet, but they're like, if you're a betting man, it's probably 90% towards Michigan right now. They're in such a good position. They could do it. They've come so close so many times, and they have a 30. No, is that
Wait,
42 points?
that's it.
That's
That's
it. Michigan have
42.
done it.
That's it. Redemption has been made here. History has been written. Michigan finally getting married, no longer settling for second place, no longer settling for third, finally completes their story and wins Division 1 CKL.
Michigan have done it. Everyone counted them out after the first 5 races of this match. They looked dead in the water. Everyone was like, "Oh, poor Michigan. They've come so close again. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is." No, Michigan have won. They were like, "No, don't give us our pity. We're winning," and they've done it. They're. It's just unfathomable how they've come back in the match. They had a crushing defeat in match 2. They've had luck go against them with the shocks, but it doesn't matter. They've taken it. CKL has met a follower goal. Everything is going right now.
Everything has went right at this point, and the DK Jungle, the victory lap here for Michigan. And like we can talk about it now, but like what a story for this team. We mentioned it before it started here. They won in season 1, fall of 2023. They win as part of House Divided with Michigan State in Division 2, and then UCSD beats them in syllabus week in the spring and then beats them again in Division 1 finals. And you look at syllabus week 2, Michigan falling short, getting third, and now it's finally their time here as Michigan finally is able to get this. And what a race for them. What a season really has been for Michigan.
Yes, after last season, I know after the finals, Michigan was not satisfied. Other teams rested on their laurels from the season. They didn't worry about improving, but every single Michigan player has been at it over the offseason. I know I talked to Crow after the match. He was very disappointed. He felt like he didn't put in his best effort, or he didn't put in his best performance in last season's finals. But here, I think Crow's been the difference maker. This entire match, especially games 1 and game 3, Crow has come alive. He's enabled the rest of the Michigan team to do so well as we see the royal procession going forwards. Top 3 on DK Jungle. Odd place to get married, but hey, if you're Michigan, you've waited this long, why not splash the extra cash, go somewhere exotic?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, a bit of a honeymoon. It looks like they're about to be in a bit early now, but it looks really great for them here. And they've been saving DK Jungle for a reason. It came to a point where race 12 was they needed it like to actually seal the deal. This is like perfect for them. This was one of their best tracks. And to think that they had it saved for this long is so poetic. And this star here for short is amazing as well. Gotta try and get up a red, but instead just falling a bit short there, but still right behind Pickley. But Michigan top 2, 4, great stuff for them.
Yeah, I mean, Waterloo has taken the lead. It doesn't matter. They're playing for pride now. I love that all players are still sticking out. They're still giving it their best efforts. This is great to see from both teams. We will for sure be seeing both these teams at the top again next season. Maybe other teams come into the mix, but for now, it is Michigan's day. They've done it. They've broken their curse. They've finally won it. And I think you won't find a happier man than Short is right now. I would love to get him into the booth right now for an interview.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, we want to give a congratulations to Michigan. The Wolverines finally winning it here, making that dream come true, winning Division 1 after coming so close so many times. But also want to shout out Waterloo. What a phenomenal debut season it has been for them, coming ever so close to winning it all in their first season. You never know. Maybe they have their own Michigan arc next semester, but of course, Division 1 champions, University of Michigan, the Wolverines, Short, Freddy, Mexican, Whooper, C2D2, maybe Aiden, Sugar, Toadmaster, and McChicken. Congratulations to that team.
I think in game 3, we saw the experience of Michigan coming out. They were in finals last season. They played the best of 3 format, and they knew, they dug into their back locker. They were ready for match 3. Waterloo, I don't think they were ready for that yet, but we see Waterloo do this season what Michigan did last season. who knows? The sky is
Mhm.
the limit for that team. And I know them coming second will only make them more hungry going into the next season. We've seen, especially Enor and Spoons, improve like crazy over the season.
Yes.
From brand new to the game to starting and playing in a CKL Division 1 Grand Final is incredible work for them. But enough about... They've done great, but today is all Michigan's. We are welcoming their entire team into the caster's booth for an interview. Welcome, guys. Congrats on your win.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, I think we're
You
all
guys
still
must be
shuffling
so
in
happy.
here. I think.
Dude, I don't even know what to ask you. I just, like, I know how much this means to you guys.
Yeah, I know,
I'm
right?
really happy for
Hello.
you guys as well. Congrats.
I love
League of Legends.
Dude, that banner is so fresh. It's so fresh.
You guys did so well today. Honestly, first thing I'm going to ask before we get into the more serious questions, Short, I think we got the clip of CKL of all time on you on Music Park. What were your comms like when that was happening? Were you saying anything? What was running through your head when that
well,
happened?
yeah. Well, so it was their shock, right? And then I was trying to get my shroom, and then Sean, he might have committed acts of terror on me.
He committed acts of terror on me first, and this was my revenge.
I also, just for the record, I almost swore immediately.
I
Yeah.
heard that. I heard you start with that, and then yeah.
You held it
Good
together.
catch.
Like, they were just
We're
like,
keeping
like
it-
quiet.
We're
There's just like
keeping
a
it
quiet
family
at the end,
friendly
like,
on the
I
CKL
wouldn't
stream.
second to
Yes.
full.
Thank you for stopping yourself short. My other big question: at the start of match 3, 5 races in, it looked really bleak for you guys. Chat was talking about it. The mood here, Spice and I were kind of thinking, oh, the finals are over, and you guys looked to be out. How did you bring that back mentally from getting destroyed match 2 and that continuing at the start of match 3?
It was the
Bro, I
power
was-
of good
I was
vibes.
telling-
We're really confident in our music park. Like that's a track that like we don't pick it too often, but like we know
It
we
was
can
their-
do good things here.
It was their track pick, buddy.
It was
It
their
was
track.
their
I was
track pick too.
I was mentioning the captain with Whooper especially. I know he's insane
Mhm.
on Music Park. They pulled 2 shocks, I believe, unless one of those
Yep.
was yours, and you
Oh, yeah,
still
wait,
got
I-
what,
I
what,
just
plus
wanna-
20?
Can I submit
Yep.
something else to the record so that everyone in chat knows? I just want
Yeah.
everyone to know that in game 1, Whooper dropped to 102. He wasn't even. He was muted. Bro was not even.
I was on a work meeting. I'm not gonna lie.
Bro was actively talking to his boss while he dropped a 102. in
If you
CKL
stayed
D1
muted
finals.
match 2, you guys would have won it too. Although
Exactly.
I'm glad you
Yeah.
did.
That's what we said.
I'm glad you
It's
didn't
sad.
because this was such a good match. Like it was
Yeah.
so good to watch from both your teams. Like it was amazing. I'm so glad I got to cast it, and I'm so glad you guys got to win it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, let me revoke your perms in our server.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. No, you
Spice, do
said
you have
that.
any questions for them?
I think the big question is, after coming up short so many times previously, how does it feel to finally win it?
Oh, it feels so good.
It feels amazing. It feels amazing. Right before this, not even 24 hours ago, maybe it was, we went out to get sushi together. Me, Short, Whooper, AJ, and this other guy named Aiden. And
You
This
know,
other guy
there's
named
one
Aiden on the
buddy-
team.
Who's
no,
AJ?
no, I love
AJ
Who's
is AJ.
yeah.
He's
Okay.
on team 2.
No,
He's on
but-
team 2.
Okay.
Like we like hang out and like
This
like
guy-
eat food and like do shit like outside of the game. So it was
Oh.
really cool to like win with people that you also hang out with. I thought
We do stuff outside of the game.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
what I
we
meant.
touch grass and shit like that. Oh.
Oh, not again!
Dude, this guy did not learn his lesson.
And crap.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. Not the
I
S word.
think I think it's awesome that you guys have that bond like that, and I think keeping good vibes must have been part of the secret to winning. Obviously, that's not all of it. Good vibes is not enough alone to win.
Yeah.
And you guys
I wish we
just
could've
outdrove
streamed.
the...
I wish we could
Yeah.
have streamed call audio for that. Like the
Vibes were
match
kind of
three.
down match 2, obviously. And vibes were down match 3, but we didn't verbalize it. That's
Dude,
the difference.
after Ninja, I thought we were cooked. I'm not gonna lie.
After Ninja, we were quaking, but no one said anything.
We were
It was go next. It was
We
if we're gonna
channeled-
win this
We
one.
channeled our inner Japanese on Excite Bike, and we brought it back.
I don't know what these guys
That
are
was
talking about.
crazy.
There was never a doubt.
Yeah. Also, there was a moment where we were gonna pick pinball, and then we asked Charlie if he wanted pinball, and he was silent for like the entire countdown, and then he just goes, "It's time."
we saw you
That's
flicking
funny.
back the whole time. Spicy and I, all of match 3, we were rooting for a Thwomp Ruins pick.
What the-
Unfortunately, it didn't
Why did you not
materialize.
pick that?
We were hoping it would happen, but
TR.
Nah. The crazy pick of the war was Sweet Sweet Canyon. We realized we had that in our pocket. We're waiting the whole time. Boom, plus 20.
That was crazy. You guys let them have triple odds and you still plus 20.
We were thinking about like anti-first tracks that we could pick, and we like had no tracks because like 24 tracks already gotten picked, and then Whooper just said sweet sweet, and then the whole call nodded their heads and agreed.
Charlie went and got some candy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got some Pez right before I started eating them.
Pez? Oh,
Yeah. I have a Baby Yoda, a Grogu Pez dispenser I got a few weeks ago, and I put them in there and started eating.
that's so real.
All right. I'm asking the Twitch chat if they have any questions for you guys, but until
Is
then,
this
do
the
you guys
first
have
time
any?
that like a team has been in the interview? For sure it is, right?
I believe it might be.
You guys are getting the inside.
Might have
look
the
with
most
the-
players, I think.
We are setting a lot of
Definitely,
firsts here for the league.
You are
Yeah.
setting a lot of firsts. Do you
That
guys
was-
have
that was
any?
the best record of all time, right? We went plus 1026 in reg season, and then we won the playoffs, so that has to be.
I believe so. Panda Master in the chat from UTK is asking, how did you guys, especially your new players, train for this?
Damn. Oop,
The week
shit.
of lounge.
Charlie, that's all you.
I played lounge twice a day, every day this week, and also I've played since noon straight until now.
Yeah, you've improved
Bro,
like crazy
absolutely
since
locked
last
in.
season. It's been awesome to see how much you
Mhm.
improved, and that
yeah,
improvement
it's
was
been
so
great.
vital to your win today. Tony Balboa has a question for C2D2 again. Which NBA player did you mimic your Mario Kart style to?
I've been listening to the Jordans Bulls intro. Serious. Look it up on Spotify by the Alan Parsons Project.
Oh my god, I know exactly.
Listening
what
to
you're
that.
saying.
I also watched
that's a really good. That's a really good question. I'll say. Like that's a
Yeah,
really good.
more of those, please.
Yeah.
All right. One more question from the chat from Ted Bear for C2D2 yet again. How does it feel to have more championships than Charles Barkley?
That's why, if you saw me, I normally run Charles Barkley. I said he's never wanted bring. I'm not running him tonight.
Yeah, he was Teddy Roosevelt tonight.
Yeah, Teddy Roosevelt,
That's a
Steve
fly. He's
Harvey.
a winner.
Oh yeah, and Steve Harvey. Yeah, lock in for
Alright.
Steve Harvey.
Our next two questions are pretty similar. Angle's for everyone. McChicken is for C2D2 only yet again. Angle asks, how many are uninstalling the game now? And McChicken says, C2D2, are you uninstalling the game and moving on to baseball now?
No.
No. You guys going to keep
Not
playing? You're
done
going
yet,
for it
not
again
done
next
yet.
season?
We're going again next season.
I think
I'm
we're
not
Alright.
touching this game until the first match next season, probably. But
Watch
I
out,
need a break.
CKL.
I think I need a
Next
break.
season, as we wrap up the stream, Michigan players, do you guys have any shout outs, acknowledgments, things you'd like to say on the stream? Because today
shout out
is
to
your day.
Professor Stevenson for putting an 8:30 a.m. exam tomorrow that I gotta go to bed to for now. Thanks, buddy. Almost cost us the chip.
Yo, hey, shout out to BDD. I see y'all in the VC, bro. Thank y'all for watching, bro.
Shout
Let's
out
go,
to
man.
mom and dad and my sister and my brother.
Aw.
Yeah.
I have two
Uh,
shout
That's really nice.
Shout out my beautiful girlfriend. She was watching the stream the whole time.
Shout out my
That's
girlfriend
awesome.
too. A little. Shout out my girlfriend more. I think she's also watching.
Shout out my girlfriend, finally. I love you, Liz. And then also, I think we all collectively would like to shout out Ratty.
Oh yeah. Shout out to Ratty. Shout out to Ratty.
Shout out to
Shout out to
Shout
Ray.
out to Ratty. Yeah.
Thank
you.
I say shout out.
I said it.
All right, final question before we wrap this off. From Champlain in the chat, why is C2D2 the only one not shouting out his girlfriend?
Ooh.
Ooh.
Wait,
He's
CTG,
too
can you
modest.
tell me what your major is? I think that will answer the question.
Dang.
It's architecture.
I think Tony Balboa explained it perfectly. Winning takes up too much time.
Really?
Yeah.
With that, we are going to wrap up the stream. We're wrapping up Division 1 of CKL. I believe we still have more matches this week. Spicy, if you can clue me in.
Yeah, so this week we're waiting on confirmation for Division 3 as well as Division 6. But next week, on next Sunday, we have Division 4 finals, CSU LB against Florida. And then the day after that, next Monday, Division 5 finals between Idaho and RRG, otherwise known as University of Texas San Antonio. So a lot of great matches still coming your way in the next upcoming days, but that will be wrapping it up for us here with Division 1 finals on the CKL Twitch.
Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. It's been an absolute pleasure casting. Thank you so much to Ted Bear and LeBob for casting match 1. And the biggest shout out has to go to Angle. He hosted the entire stream every single POV switch, making sure everything was running smoothly, smoothing over every single issue was all Angle today, doing a one-man job. So make sure you thank Angle when you get the time. And with that, it's time to go. Thank you so much for watching the Division 1 Championship of CKL. We will see you next time.